Chapter 32. Hey, He Xiaoyu, the shrimp dumplings in this restaurant are awful. Do you want to eat them? If you do, I'll give them to you. You're only giving it to me because it tastes bad? Amused, He Xiaoyu ran to Han Fei and pinched his ear. You're still in the mood to eat? Where the hell have you been? I thought you were dead. The teachers were all worried that if you died, Tangu would go crazy when he came back, and our school would be in trouble. Hey, little girl, be quiet, or you won't be able to get married in the future. Who said I'm dead? I just went for a stroll on the sea. He Xiaoyu said, How can you be so casual? Do you know how many fishing boats the school sent to search for you? Even my dad looks sad every day. Han Fei thought to himself, the school is only looking for me because they are worried that Tangu will punish me. Otherwise, why would the school be so kind? Han Fei scoffed. Let go of me. Do you think I don't want to lose face? My fishing boat was broken and I drifted on the sea for 5 days and 5 nights. Why didn't I know that someone was looking for me? Forget it, if you don't want to eat, then don't eat. Let's talk after we enter the school, okay? He Xiaoyu said anxiously, How can the boat be broken? Come with me to find teacher. Before Han Fei finished the last shrimp dumpling, He Xiaoyu had already dragged him into the school. Along the way, some people avoided him like snakes and scorpions. Someone exclaimed, Did Han Fei die at sea? What? Han Fei is not dead? That's not right. This guy disappeared for 7 to 8 days. Why did he appear again? Sure enough, rumors can't be trusted. Han Fei must be in a relationship with He Xiaoyu. There must be something shameful. Pa, blushing, He Xiaoyu stabbed the bamboo stick on the ground and berated, What are you talking about? If you say it again, I'll kill you. If He Xiaoyu was violent, she certainly was, or she wouldn't have been running around with a bamboo stick. However, this little girl was a little stupid. She would only be violent when she was angry. But so far, Han Fei was much more violent than He Xiaoyu. Han Fei asked, He Xiaoyu, are we going to class? He Xiaoyu said, What class? We're graduating soon. Let's go find the teachers and tell them that you're back. He Xiaoyu nagged as they walked. The fishing trial that was held once every 3 years was about to begin. All the teachers were busy guiding the students and telling them how to survive and succeed in the trial. Wang Jie was about to teach the students how to save themselves when He Xiaoyu came with Han Fei. Wang Jie was stunned. Han Fei, you're not dead? Master, I've returned safely. Pa, Wang Jie slapped Han Fei's head. You're full of tricks. Everybody thought that you died at sea. Do you know how many boats the school sent to look for you? Speechless, Han Fei rubbed his head. Master, someone tried to set me up. My boat was destroyed, and I wandered 800 kilometers away from the general fishery for 5 days and 5 nights. I was upset too. Wang Jie was taken aback and said seriously, Huh? What happened? Although Wang Jie looked down on Han Fei before, Han Fei made a breakthrough at the last moment, so he was more lenient. After all, Han Fei was just a kid, and he couldn't blame him too much. But now, someone tried to set up his student. That was unacceptable. The students of the school could die in the ocean while fishing, but not being set up. After Han Fei finished, Wang Jie frowned. You're saying that a fisher above level 9, or even a fishing master, tried to set you up? Han Fei said, Master, the port has been involved in the investigation. He Xiaoyu was dumbfounded. A fishing master wanted to set you up? Was there a need to do that? He could have killed you with a slap. Suddenly, Wang Jie took 2 steps back and looked at Han Fei up and down. While Han Fei and He Xiaoyu looked at him in confusion, Wang Jie patted Han Fei's shoulder. Han Fei certainly knew what was going on. So, Wang Jie had seen through his strength. This was a test. Master, why did you hit me? But Wang Jie ignored him and looked at Han Fei weirdly. When did you become a level 6 fisher? Wang Jie found it hard to understand. It was understandable that you could level up 1 level a month, or even if you were a genius, it was understandable that you could level up 1 level in half a month. But you've been a turtle for 4 years, and it only took you half a month to advance from level 2 to level 6. Was Tangu really capable of that? All of a sudden, Wang Jie wondered if he should take Han Fei to do another spiritual heritage test. He didn't believe that a little guy with a spiritual heritage of level 1, high quality, could be so talented. As if he knew what Wang Jie was thinking, Han Fei said in a hurry, "Master, don't be so surprised. I ate a spiritual fruit that was given to me by my brother, and I instantly advanced from level 4 to level 6. Who? Wang Jie and He Xiaoyu were both relieved. No wonder you leveled up so fast. Then, Wang Jie glared at Han Fei with fury. Spiritual fruit? You only leveled up 2 levels after eating a spiritual fruit? Your aptitude is truly poor. You're no different from a piece of garbage. That's a spiritual fruit. Wang Jie was speechless. When a man achieves the Tao, his chickens and dogs rise to the heavens. I haven't eaten a spirit fruit, but you ate it first. It was a pity that Han Fei's aptitude was too poor to absorb the power of the spiritual fruit. Wang Jie didn't want to talk to Han Fei anymore. His eyes were bloodshot with jealousy. He Xiaoyu, however, pulled Han Fei and asked enviously, Han Fei, is the spiritual fruit delicious? What does it feel like after eating it? Do you level up all of a sudden? Han Fei looked at He Xiaoyu pitifully. Even if there was a fishing master in your family, so what? You couldn't find a spiritual fruit anyway, could you? Han Fei said casually, it's actually not a big deal. It's gone the moment it reaches your mouth. Then you'll feel hot all over your body, your veins will expand, and your spiritual energy will overflow out of your body. Train yourself during this period, and then you'll hear the sound of your level cracking. Pa, Wang Jie slapped Han Fei's head again. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Your spiritual energy is overflowing from your body. I'm drooling. Wang Jie snorted. All of you, go to the fishing trial class. You're not allowed to be absent. He Xiaoyu hurried to drag Han Fei away. She could tell that she would be beaten too if they stayed any longer. Didn't they see that Mr. Wang Jie's eyes were bloodshot? Soon after they left, He Xiaoyu asked secretly, Han Fei, are we going to fight today? Han Fei turned around and looked at her in surprise. That's not a good idea, is it? Will I be kicked out if I cause trouble the moment I come back? He Xiaoyu said, what's there to be scared of? Do you know? I'm only 1 step away from breaking through level 7. I think a dozen more bowls of swallowed spirit soup and a bottle of fish head body polishing fluid will be enough. I can lend you my bamboo rod. Seeing the passion in He Xiaoyu's eyes, Han Fei realized that the girl had benefited a lot from the soup, or she wouldn't be egging him on right now. However, Han Fei was quite tempted too. Although the swallowed spirit soup was useless to him, he could still drink dozens of bowls of it. That would all be spiritual energy. The two of them agreed to challenge each other right after class. It was Han Fei's first class. Nobody was willing to sit next to him except for his temporary ally, He Xiaoyu, who supported him. But Wang Jie said gloomily the moment he came in, sit away from each other. Don't think about puppy love at such a young age. Immediately, everybody in the class focused their eyes on Han Fei and He Xiaoyu. He Xiaoyu immediately blushed and said angrily, I'm not in puppy love. Han Fei opened his hands helplessly. Me neither. It's pure between us. Pure? As soon as this word came out, everyone's view of Han Fei became impure. Everyone seemed to be wondering when Han Fei started to be so shameless. The class began. Wang Jie said, you're all familiar with the fishing trial. I won't emphasize the details to you. I only want to emphasize that you should act according to your capabilities and not be eager for quick success. Although the fishing trial is about the quality and quantity of fish, you should know how many students are eaten by the fish every time. The odds of death and the odds of injury are 10%. Wang Jie talked a lot. It was Han Fei's first time hearing that, and he listened with great interest. As it turned out, the fishing trial was just a way to select talents for fishing. Only those who passed the trial would be awakened, which would awaken their spiritual beasts. Chapter 33. After the class. Han Fei and He Xiaoyu, each carrying a stick, went to class 1, murmuring to each other. He Xiaoyu looked at the rod in Han Fei's hand curiously. Your iron rod is rather strange. My dad said that fancy weapons are useless. Han Fei thought that there were many things that her dad didn't know. He quickly changed the topic. Han Fei asked, Why can only 1,000 people be awakened? There are tens of thousands of students in our school and the other districts, right? He Xiaoyu said, but the awakening consumes spirit awakening fluid. It's only enough for 1,000 people in the past. It's the same this time. Han Fei was surprised. What about the rest of the people? Will they all become regular fishermen? He Xiaoyu looked at Han Fei weirdly. Are you stupid? If they have a chance to become level 10 fishers and make a natural breakthrough, they'll awaken their spiritual beasts too. Han Fei smiled in embarrassment. He remembered that natural awakening was rare for the young men in the fishing village. Those who could awaken their spiritual beasts were mostly young men in their 20s. By then, they would have passed the best period for training. So, they wouldn't make much progress even if they awakened their spiritual beasts. Han Fei thought that since the awakening was based on the ranking, he had to fight for the top few places. Han Fei was immediately motivated. He dragged He Xiaoyu and said, "Hurry up. What's the most important thing for cultivators?" He Xiaoyu was lost for words. Who's dawdling? You've wasted 4 years on yourself, and you're in a hurry at the last moment. Besides, you're already level 6, and you can pass the fishing trial. The gate of Class 1 was kicked open. Everybody was shocked. Han Fei raised his rod and said, "I'm back. Is your protection? Is the swallowed spirit soup ready?" Han Fei held his head high. Sensing that He Xiaoyu was pulling him, he said impatiently, "Don't be scared. I'm already level 6. I can beat everyone in the grade." "You're going to beat everyone in the grade?" The voice was quite dignified. Han Fei froze and looked aside, only to see the fishing master teacher of Class 1 glaring at him gloomily. Han Fei was stunned. "Well, hello, teacher." "Teacher, I'm here to challenge you. I've heard that you are all strong. Today, I've reached level 6 and come to challenge you. If we lose, He Xiaoyu's bamboo stick will be his, and if we win, we only want a bowl of swallowed spirit soup." Bang! Han Fei was sent flying. The fishing master pointed at him and cursed, "Get lost, shameless bastard." Since the last time, Han Fei was no longer a piece of trash in everyone's eyes. He was fierce when he fought. More importantly, with the swallowed spirit soup, he didn't have enough spiritual energy. How could he fight then? What was the point of fighting if the students in his class were to exhaust their spiritual energy to death? Han Fei was speechless. How could this teacher beat people casually? "I'm just making a suggestion." A level 7 expert from Class 1 looked at Han Fei. "Mr. Yang. He can only show off by absorbing the swallowed spirit soup. We'll challenge him as long as he doesn't use the swallowed spirit soup." Mr. Yang slightly frowned. Even if he didn't use the swallowed spirit soup, Han Fei wouldn't be easy to deal with as a level 6 expert. There were no level 8 students in the 4 schools in the village. There were more than 200 level 7 students, and only 1,000 level 6 students. Even though Han Fei was at the bottom of level 6, he was still a level 6 expert. Mr. Yang thought of something. It wouldn't be a problem to show the shameless level 6 expert to his classmates. Mr. Yang said, "You can fight him, but only the experts of your level." Han Fei was about to leave, but he immediately patted his chest and said, "No problem. 2 bowls of swallowed spirit soup." Mr. Yang said gloomily, "Only 1 bowl, and you're not allowed to drink it during a battle." Han Fei said, "Sir, that's not fair. I can only fight 1 of them." Mr. Yang was amused. "How many more do you want to fight? An entire grade?" Han Fei smiled in embarrassment. "Okay, let's fight first. I'll win as many bowls as I can." Everybody in the class rolled their eyes. "You're talking as if you're sure to win. Can you beat any expert of your level without the swallowed spirit soup?" Lu Lingji had just advanced into level 6 too. She intended to give it a try. After all, new breakthroughs should be more effective. However, Hu Kun stood out first. "Let me do it. Don't compete with me. Let me do it." Although Han Fei's speed of improvement was rather terrifying, it didn't make sense. Tanggu must have been helping him. Nobody in the school knew Han Fei's level better than he did. Also, Tanggu had helped Han Fei too much. Tanggu must have left a lot of benefits for Han Fei when the angel took him away, or he couldn't have reached level 6 so quickly. Amused, Han Fei grinned at Hukuan. Don't be hasty. Let's fight one by one. Bring me the soup first. Hukuan said, there's plenty of soup as long as you can win. Clang, Hukuan walked close with his iron rod. He finally had a legitimate reason to teach Han Fei a lesson. Nobody looked forward to the opportunity more than he did. Han Fei extended his hand, and He Xiaoyu quickly gave him the purple bamboo rod. Han Fei said, come on, let me see what you're made of. Everybody was lost for words. It was as if he were being tested. Hukuan practiced the double flying rod, which was characterized by its speed. Han Fei chuckled. What's the use of being fast? Watch me sweep away all your enemies. The advantage of sweeping stick was its wide range and fierce strength. Holding the stick in one hand, Han Fei filled the bamboo stick with spiritual energy. When he swept it, the spiritual energy drew a half arc in the air, which was quite fierce. In such a situation, Hukuan could only take the attack head-on, block it, or retreat. However, the battle had just begun. If Hukuan retreated, he would never be able to hold his head high in the future. As for blocking, the sweeping rod was characterized by its wide range and ferocity. If Han Fei was given a chance, he would only be met with more heavy blows. So, Hukuan chose to take the attack head-on. He felt that as someone half a step into level 7, it was impossible that he couldn't defeat Han Fei, who had been promoted by external forces. Clang, in the ear-piercing sound of metal colliding, Hukuan's face changed greatly. His face turned red, and the iron rod in his hand was bent. His arms were numb, as if they were broken. Then he felt nothing. Pooh! He was blown away. Hukuan, a peak level 6 fisher, didn't even survive one attack from Han Fei. He was knocked out and didn't even have the chance to moan. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath. Lu Lingji, who was eager to give it a try, immediately froze. Her beautiful eyes shone with a strange light. Han Fei's growth was too fast, wasn't it? Mr. Yang was also dumbfounded. Was Han Fei's innate strength something that could be improved? They were both level 6, but he knocked Hukuan out in one move. Wasn't it too horrifying? He Xiaoyu was also stunned. She taught Han Fei the sweeping stick, but when Han Fei used it just now, his proficiency had obviously caught up with hers. Also, she believed that she was on par with Hukuan, but Han Fei had defeated him in one move? A question mark popped up in everyone's mind. Who the fuck can tell me that this is the Han Fei who has been useless for 4 years? Han Fei smacked his lips and said, that's why I told you not to be hasty, but you just had to charge forward. Then Han Fei said arrogantly, it seems that I'm invincible among level 6. Level 7 fishers, come out and let's have a fight. Yang Qing's face darkened. He knew very well what Hukuan was capable of. Han Fei had defeated Hukuan in one move, which meant that the guy was very strong. He had misjudged him. But he still nodded at the crowd. It wouldn't be bad if Han Fei could defeat Hukuan in one move. Immediately, a young man walked out from the crowd, carrying a bluish stick. He Xiaoyu said, he's Xing Qiu. He's very good. His rod is made of blue wood from the bottom of the ocean. It's as good as bamboo. He ranks in the top 20 among the level 7 students in our school. His reward is 4 bowls of swallowed spirit soup. When He Xiaoyu introduced him to Han Fei, she also mentioned that Xing Qiu was worth 4 bowls of soup. Immediately, Han Fei's eyes turned green. Damn it. A level 7 was worth 4 bowls of soup? That was too good. Everybody listened to He Xiaoyu's explanation. Everything was fine at the beginning. Why did the painting change so suddenly? Han Fei nodded casually and said, hey, you're level 7, and I'm level 6. You'll get 4 bowls of swallowed spirit soup if you lose. Xing Qiu sneered. I'm not short of soup. You came last time because I wasn't here. Now that I'm here, you dare to come again? Do you really think that no one in our class can defeat you? Of course, Han Fei wouldn't be intimidated, but He Xiaoyu suddenly grabbed Han Fei's rod. I have my rod. Give it to me. Han Fei tilted his head and looked at He Xiaoyu. Don't be like this. Even if my opponent is a level 7 fisher, I won't lose, alright? Han Fei said, let go. Look at how humiliating it is. It's just a rod. He Xiaoyu said, I'm not letting go. You're the one who loses. Han Fei said, are you going to let go or not? Don't you want the swallowed spirit soup? He Xiaoyu said, I'll drink it. I'll help you drink it when you can't finish it. Everybody was lost for words. What did she mean by helping him drink it when he couldn't finish it? Did she really expect him to beat all the students in the grade? Did she know how many level 7 experts there were in a grade? Xing Qiu was so angry that her face was red. Are you going to compete or not? Isn't it humiliating? You're not even willing to part with a bamboo rod. Han Fei felt rather embarrassed. He really didn't know what to say to He Xiaoyu, who was so stingy at a critical moment. Han Fei could only let go of her helplessly. Fine. It seems that I have to bring out my own weapon. Everybody was gloomy. How dare you? It's just an iron rod. Xing Qiu said, who wants your lousy rod? Han Fei stuck the rod on the ground. What do you know about yellow fish? My brother gave this to me. It's a super fine iron rod, the best of all fine iron rods. Everybody was unconvinced. Who are you fooling? Super fine iron rod? It's just a fine iron rod. Han Fei said, you don't even dare to try it? You're only level 7? I always keep my word. Even if I don't, my brother is there. Are you scared that I don't have money? Chapter 34. Everybody stared at the two of them. Logically speaking, a level 7 versus a level 6 wasn't a surprise, but Han Fei had grown too fast. However, Han Fei must have gained a lot of benefits. He grew too fast and defeated Hu Kun with one move. Maybe he really had the confidence to fight a level 7. Under everybody's expectation, the two of them began to fight. This time, Han Fei jumped up and slashed. He didn't know any other combat skills. He only knew jumping, slashing, sweeping, and stabbing. Xing Qiu snorted and spurted out his spiritual energy. He planned to knock Han Fei down with a powerful blow. Han Fei, on the other hand, thought differently from Xing Qiu. He couldn't be too high profile. A level 7 fisher was already the peak of the school. If he killed Xing Qiu as easily as he killed Brother Gang, it would be a disaster. Clang! Han Fei's face changed greatly. He pretended to step back. So strong. Is this the power of a level 7 expert? You're truly strong. Xing Fei was still arrogant. He thought to himself, do you know how strong I am? But he knew that Han Fei was truly strong. Was his strength really that great? He felt that his hands were numb. Clang, 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 Han Fei said, shoot, a level 7 expert is truly strong. Han Fei said, He Xiaoyu, I might not be able to win this time. Han Fei said, hey, aren't your hands numb? You're bleeding. After 5 consecutive strikes, Han Fei kept muttering and his face changed several times. The onlookers thought that Han Fei was really feeling the toughness of a level 7 expert. But on the other hand, Xing Fei was no better than Han Fei. Xing Fei's lips were bleeding, and his face was paler and paler. Even his hand that was holding the rod was shivering. Clang! Xing Qiu was blown away. His rod did not bend, and his arms were slightly fractured. With blood flowing from his mouth, he stepped back and almost fell to the ground. Han Fei said, wow. You're truly strong. A level 7 expert deserves his reputation. My hands are shaking. As he spoke, Han Fei even shook his hands. Everybody was lost for words. You call that shaking? You're just shaking, all right? Yang Qing's face was gloomy and she was shocked. How did Han Fei become so strong? Not only did he win, but he was also completely fine. Silence. Silence. The entire place was deathly silent. Someone patted his head. Am I dreaming? Is this Han Fei? He Xiaoyu's mouth was wide open, her eyes full of disbelief. How come she did not know that Han Fei was so strong after 4 years? There was no limit to how amazing he was. Han Fei hurriedly winked at He Xiaoyu. He Xiaoyu? Han Fei pretended to stagger to He Xiaoyu's side and fell on her with an ah. Hey! Although I won, I seem to have been injured quite badly. However, Han Fei felt that something was wrong, as if he had touched something. Soft? Pa, He Xiaoyu blushed in anger. You're shameless? Han Fei was dumbfounded. I was injured. Why did you hit me? My internal organs are tumbling. I want to drink the swallowed spirit soup. The group of people rolled their eyes. Could you be any more fake? At this juncture, you're still drinking fish soup and pretending to be injured to take advantage of a girl. You're really one of a kind. Yang Qing tried to calm herself down. I won't argue with a kid. Come. Who? Yang Qing bellowed. Okay, this challenge is over. Han Fei, come with me. Han Fei said, Master, I need to drink fish soup, or my internal organs are tumbling. Kim? Han Fei was kicked out more than 10 meters away, and then he jumped up with a swish and tried to run. Yang Qing said, Stay where you are. You can get the fish soup from the cafeteria later. Come with me. He Xiaoyu, come with me too. The rest of you, send Hu Kuan and Xing Qiu to the treatment room. Wang Jie was examining a bottle of expensive body polishing fluid, thinking that he might be able to make further progress. He raised his eyes inadvertently, only to see his colleague, Yang Qing, leading his student to him with a dark face. Wang Jie asked, Mr. Yang, what's going on? Yang Qing said, Mr. Wang, your student is really good at hiding his strength. Han Fei knocked out a level 6 peak with 1 strike and swept away level 7 experts with 5 or 6 strikes. Do you know that? Wang Jie was dumbfounded. What are you talking about? Knocked out a level 6 peak with 1 strike? And swept away level 7 experts with 5 or 6 strikes. Han Fei said in a hurry, Mr. Wang, my internal organs are tumbling too. Yang Qing said, Shut up. You didn't even tremble. Do you think I can't tell? Wang Jie stared at Han Fei thoughtfully and then glanced at He Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu, tell me, what are you up to this time? He Xiaoyu blushed and couldn't say anything for a long time. In the end, Yang Qing said with a smile, Your student is addicted to swindling fish soup. I caught him red-handed when he tried to swindle fish soup. Well, he's from your class. You deal with him. By the way, apart from Tangu, few people in the school are his match. Let him go somewhere else to swindle people. Han Fei mumbled, Swindle others? I'm just helping him, okay? Who knew that level 7 experts were so weak? Brother Gang could still fight with him. After Yang Qing left, Wang Jie looked at Han Fei weirdly. What did Tangu offer you? How did you cultivate so fast? Far away at the edge of the level 2 fishery, on a white luxurious fishing boat, Tangu sneezed and frowned. Was my brother bullied? I've been out for a long time, but the guy next to me won't let me go. What should I do? Forget it, I'll find a way to go back in a few days. I'd better not be bullied. Next to him, Fang Zhe was holding a fishing rod with a 3-headed snake hanging on it. He said to Tangu with a smile, This is a 3-headed sea snake. It won't die even if its head is separated from its body. It will regrow after a while. It's very powerful. Of course, their gallbladders contain the essence of heaven and earth, which is a rare tonic. Here, you can eat it. You'll be level 9 after you eat it. In the school. As far as Wang Jie knew, this could only be achieved with Tang Ji's help. Han Fei only had a level 1 spiritual heritage. How could he become a level 7 fisher from a level 2 fisher in half a month? If he was really talented, he would be one of the best in the town. Wang Jie wouldn't be able to teach him at all. Wang Jie said thoughtfully, It's fun to raise your level for a while, but the higher you go, the more difficult it will be for you to cultivate. Even though spiritual fruits are marvelous, there's still medicines that can't be taken randomly. Remember not to raise your level too fast, or your foundation will be damaged. Han Fei said, Sir, I'll listen to you. Wang Jie was rather uncomfortable to see that the good-for-nothing in his class had become a top expert of his generation. He waved his hand casually and said, Go. Don't challenge them. You'll only receive 2 bowls of swallowed spirit soup in the future. After all, you have to cultivate too. Han Fei nodded and suddenly asked, Sir, I'm told that there are many experts in the North and South campuses. Are there even stronger experts in the West campus? Wang Jie's eyelids shivered. They're not strong. They're level 7 at best. Don't mess around. Han Fei said, Got it, sir. I won't. Han Fei was about to leave, and He Xiaoyu was about to follow him. Wang Jie said, Wait. Han Fei turned around. Sir, is there anything else? Wang Jie said, You'd better watch yourself. You're only 12 years old. Don't fall in love at such a young age, or I won't stop Mr. He from slapping you. He Xiaoyu's face immediately turned red. Who's in love with him? I'm just following him to drink the soup. Han Fei said, Sir, there's no such thing. He Xiaoyu and I are as pure as the meat of a little white fish. Wang Jie said, Get lost. Han Fei said, Hey. Han Fei hurried to slip away. It seemed that he couldn't stay in his school anymore. The teachers were too familiar with him. Han Fei said, He Xiaoyu, let's go to the cafeteria to drink the fish soup. We'll go to the South Campus after that and trick him into giving us 50 bowls of swallowed spirit soup. We also need to buy a big gourd. We can't waste it even if we can't finish it. We have to carry it with us so that we can drink it slowly in the future. But first of all, you have to lend me your bamboo rod. I can't use my iron rod casually. Han Fei babbled for a long time and looked back, only to see He Xiaoyu walking angrily next to him without even looking at him. Han Fei asked, What's wrong with you? It's fine. We're as pure as the clouds in the sky. He Xiaoyu turned around quickly. I'm not handsome at all. Too many people have pursued me. I don't like you at all. Well. Chapter 35. The news of Han Fei beating up Xing Qiu spread like wildfire throughout the school. Initially, no one believed it, but when someone from Class 1 told the truth, everyone looked at Han Fei with disdain and jealousy. When Hu Kun woke up, he felt like his world was collapsing. He had been killed in one move? Hu Kun gnashed his teeth. Damn it. It's all Tangji's fault. Han Fei, don't celebrate too early. In school. Someone saw Han Fei from afar and mumbled, It's not like he did it on his own. If it weren't for Tangu, he probably wouldn't have reached level 3 yet. Someone discussed, Look, that's Han Fei. He's so lucky. We can't bully him anymore. Some girls were not afraid of Han Fei and walked past him. What's the point of relying on others? If you're not capable, you're not capable. Han Fei's face darkened. Look at yourself. How dare a bunch of good-for-nothings look down on me? In the canteen, there were 7 bowls of swallowed spirit soup in front of Han Fei and 2 in front of He Xiaoyu. Yes, let's go after drinking. Gudu, He Xiaoyu only had 2 bowls of fish soup in total. Seeing that Han Fei had already drunk 3 bowls, she felt that it was unfair. What she drank was his own food, not something he cheated others out of. Han Fei glanced at her and pushed another bowl to her. Drink some more. You'll have the strength to fight. He Xiaoyu said, It's useless for me to drink so much. I can't absorb it so fast. Why do you care so much? Anyway, there's no harm in drinking it. Drink it first. He Xiaoyu realized that it made sense. After the last time, she went home and cultivated for 3 days, almost breaking the level 7 bottleneck. Maybe Han Fei was right. What if they ate all the good stuff at once? There were many students in the cafeteria, but no one was around Han Fei and He Xiaoyu. The students' lips twitched when they looked at them. Was the swallowed spirit soup water? Even water is precious. The two of you poured several bowls each as if you were drinking with each other. What? Han Fei rose abruptly, and so did He Xiaoyu. They looked at each other and walked out of the cafeteria together. His spiritual energy value broke through 1,000 again. Han Fei was very confident. South Campus of Heavenly Water Village. Han Fei and He Xiaoyu stood at the gate of the Southern Campus. Each of them had a stick on the ground, and He Xiaoyu had a big calabash on her waist. What was even more outrageous was that there was a sign hanging in front of Han Fei's chest. On it was written, Han Fei, the gang leader of the Eastern Campus, is here to challenge. Students of the Southern Campus are welcome to challenge him, but whoever wins will be rewarded with a bamboo stick. Note, the loser must provide 2 bowls of swallowed spirit soup, the level 7 experts must provide 4 bowls, and those below level 6 are not allowed to disturb. The Southern Campus was in an uproar. Many students were enraged. They were too arrogant to challenge the entire South Campus with just the 2 of them. Someone roared, Your name is Han Fei? What kind of strength do you have to dare to spout nonsense again? Someone was holding an iron rod. Come on, I'll tell you why corals are so red. Someone cursed aloud, Those who don't know you might think that your name is Tangu. It's fine if you are Tangu, but who is Han Fei? Unheard of. Today, I will beat you until you crawl back. Let me. A level 6 boy walked close with an iron rod. I'm Li Fonglai from the southern campus, a level 6 fisher. Do you dare to fight me? Someone exclaimed, it's Li Fonglai. His spiritual heritage was level 2, high quality a few days ago. He's qualified to go to the town. He's a heavenly talent in our village. I don't think he will lose. That's right. I feel that the guy is also level 6. He's only a match for him despite his talent. Hee. Li Fonglai, knock him down with 3 strikes. Don't disgrace the southern campus. Li Fonglai raised his iron rod and grinned. I'm going to kill you. Han Fei hurried to push him away. Wait a moment. Li Fonglai's feet froze. What are you doing? Are you scared? It's useless even if you are, unless you kneel and admit your mistake. Han Fei rolled his eyes. Hey, you haven't brought the swallowed spirit soup yet. What if you run away after you lose? Li Fonglai blushed in fury. It's just 2 bowls of swallowed spirit soup. Do you think I'll go back on my words? Han Fei said, that's hard to say. You can't judge a book by its cover. Who knows if you're lying or not? Li Fonglai trembled in fury. The guy was underestimating him. More importantly, did the guy really think he could win? Li Fonglai simply attacked because the guy had infuriated him. Klang? Han Fei easily blocked the blow and then yelled, what are you waiting for? Go and get the soup. You're not going to run away after you lose, are you? The guy next to him burst into fury. Who cares about 2 bowls of soup? You think you can win? You're too arrogant. You're lucky that I didn't go up, or I would have beaten the shit out of you. The 2 of them fought back and forth for dozens of rounds, and Han Fei was still breathing heavily. However, Li Fonglai discovered, to his shock, that the guy was too strong. He couldn't even shake the guy when he unleashed his full strength. Damn it. If he were at the peak of level 6, he would have crushed the guy. He Xiaoyu looked at the sky from the side. She felt that Han Fei's behavior was a decoy. He pretended to be good, but the cost of spiritual energy was probably less than 30 points. Clang! Han Fei slashed hard and knocked Li Fonglai to the ground. Li Fonglai's face was red. It was so infuriating. He had used up all his spiritual energy, but why was the guy perfectly fine? Many people nearby were rendered speechless. Someone narrowed his eyes. The guy is not weak. He should be stronger than Li Fonglai, but Li Fonglai must have consumed a lot of his spiritual energy. He'll be defeated by another level 6. Immediately, someone jumped out. I'm Jia Tong from Class 7 of the South Campus. Don't say that I didn't give you a chance to rest. Han Fei was lost for words. Was that any different from no rest at all? A fisher could only replenish his spiritual energy through training, and it would take him half a day. Han Fei waved his hand. Wait a moment. I'm not trying to buy you more time, but where's the swallowed spirit soup? I won't fight you if you don't bring me the soup. I'm afraid that you'll go back on your word. Who will go back on their word? Jia Tong was infuriated. Being suspected again and again was even more outrageous than a direct provocation. Jia Tong said, who's going to fetch the swallowed spirit soup? Han Fei said, there's no need to run. I have a better way. I can challenge you at the gate of your cafeteria. It's more convenient. Pooh, many people almost vomited blood. How many people do you think you can beat? You challenge me at the gate of the cafeteria? I think you've been blinded by the swallowed spirit soup. He Xiaoyu couldn't help but step aside, thinking, I'm only here for the soup. No, I'm here to help him drink the soup. He can't drink it, so he invited me to help him drink it. But I'm not familiar with this guy. Han Fei added, what? You don't dare to challenge me? I was told that there were many experts on the South Campus, but you're just SOSO. He Xiaoyu, let's go to the North Campus? Jia Tong said, you're too presumptuous. The gate of the cafeteria is the gate of the cafeteria. I'm afraid that you're too scared to come. Han Fei said, I'm too scared to come? I can't come until you're bankrupt. Carrying the bamboo rod, Han Fei walked inside, swaggering and unscrupulous in the eyes of countless people who were almost spewing fire. He Xiaoyu took a deep breath. I won't be beaten up later, will I? I didn't fight them. I don't think they will. I'm a girl. In front of the cafeteria, Han Fei finally saw the 2 bowls of soup that Li Fanglai lost. He immediately shouted, "He Xiaoyu, collect the soup." He Xiaoyu blushed. She felt guilty for robbing a kid, but it was the swallowed spirit soup. She could only collect 2 bowls every 5 days, but she had already collected 2 bowls in such a short time. Jia Tong asked, "Can you fight now?" Han Fei said, "Of course. The South Campus is truly loyal. Come on, let's fight for 300 rounds." The moment Han Fei nodded, Jia Tong launched an attack. Like a madman, spiritual energy burst out of the rod and surged violently. Han Fei exclaimed, "Great! You're truly a genius of the South Campus. Awesome! Take another one of my strikes. Great!" After a couple of strikes, Jia Tong's face turned red. How much spiritual energy did this guy have? Why wasn't he done yet? Han Fei, on the other hand, pretended to be panting, but in fact he was controlling the output of spiritual energy. After all, his body was quite strong now. He could resist Jia Tong's strikes with only 5 points of spiritual energy. Just like that, he felt that he could beat 7 or 8 opponents in a row. Caught off guard, Jia Tong was hit by Han Fei and was blown 3 meters away. His hands were shaking. At this moment, many people stopped mocking him. The guy who blocked the gate of the school was truly extraordinary. He had defeated 2 level 6 experts in a row. Chapter 36. Han Fei looked around and asked, "Who's next?" Someone was eager. A student at the peak of level 5 thought that Han Fei couldn't hold on any longer and that he might be able to win the bamboo rod with a final blow. However, the moment he stood out, Han Fei said in disdain, "You're too weak. Get someone else." The student certainly wouldn't give in. "It's just 2 bowls of swallowed spirit soup. I have it too, but I want to challenge you." Han Fei's eyes glittered. "It's good that you have the soup. Come on. You win if I give in." The level 5 student's eyes glittered. "You said it yourself." Then he roared and charged at Han Fei with his iron rod. He seemed to have exerted all his strength. Han Fei could tell at a glance that the man had concentrated tremendous spiritual energy on the iron rod. Clang! Han Fei bent back and almost stepped back, but a level 6 student was still a level 6 student. With one blow, the level 5 student fell to the ground. Han Fei said, "I told you not to come. He Xiaoyu, collect the soup." Some students who thought that they were smart thought that Han Fei almost stepped back just now. They hurried to say, "I'll do it. It's my turn." "It's my turn." A few minutes passed. Nobody challenged the level 5 fisher anymore. They almost vomited blood. Han Fei was about to step back, but he blocked the attack at the last moment and even killed the level 5 fisher with one blow. He Xiaoyu kept pouring the swallowed spirit soup into her calabash, thinking to herself, "I'm only here to help drink the soup. I'm only here to help drink the soup." After a while, the number of onlookers increased. One person spread the news to 10, and 10 to 100. Many people rushed to the canteen. Holding He Xiaoyu's calabash, Han Fei had a mouthful of the soup now and then. "I'm open to anyone." But nobody responded. Han Fei shouted again, "Is there no one on the southern campus who can fight? Where are your level 6 experts? Where are your level 7 experts? Get out of the way! Get out of the way!" Very soon, the crowd was pushed aside, and a couple of young men walked over confidently. Someone was relieved. "They're finally here." Someone's confidence was boosted. "If they don't come, our southern campus will lose face." Someone said, "Han Fei is dead for sure this time. He can stop 1 or 2 people, but can he stop 8 or 10 people? As long as you don't give him a chance to catch his breath, he might not even be able to hold out against 2 of you. After all, he has been fighting for so long. Who dares to stir up trouble in the southern campus?" The man stared at Han Fei unkindly as he spoke. Han Fei said, "I'm Han Fei, the boss of the eastern campus. I think I'm invincible among level 6 students. I've never been defeated since I grew up. Today, I'm here to be defeated." He Xiaoyu was rolling her eyes. "You haven't tasted defeat yet. You were only a level 2 fisher before, and nobody dared to fight you, fearing that you might be killed by accident. Otherwise, how could you have lived to this day? But Han Fei didn't even blush or gasp for breath. Instead, he held his head high. You haven't tasted defeat yet? Are you stronger than Tango? Han Fei was not bothered at all. Tango and I are good brothers. We've never fought before. I'm here to be defeated. Someone sneered. I'm told that you've fought many battles. You must have used up your spiritual energy. Are you sure you want to fight? Han Fei said, I absorb spiritual energy fast. My spiritual energy is infinite. Everybody rolled their eyes. They had seen shameless people, but they had never seen such a shameless one. Infinite spiritual energy? Do you think you're the sea god? Someone carried an iron rod. If you want to fight, I'll fight you. Don't admit defeat if you dare. Han Fei said, whoever admits defeat is a coward. Everybody's heart was ignited by his words. Kill him. Cripple him. Smash him to death. He's too arrogant. There's no way he can walk out today. Holding his bamboo rod, Han Fei said lazily, fight me if you're not convinced. I'll do it. Someone couldn't help but want to see Han Fei's strength first. But this time, Han Fei jumped up and smashed the man 3 times in a row, knocking him away. Even his iron rod was bent. Hiss, shoot, is this guy made of iron? Why is he still so strong? Han Fei said with a smile, next. Wait a moment. When Han Fei was about to continue, he saw a middle-aged man with 2 students. Mr. Zhou. Zhou Ding looked awful. He didn't believe it when he heard that someone was waiting at the school gate to challenge him, but he did now. A lot of bowls had been placed next to the girl who was filling the swallowed spirit soup. The gourd was so heavy that there was no telling how much swallowed spirit soup was in it. Zhou Ding observed Han Fei. He was indeed a level 6. He couldn't have missed it if he was a level 7. Zhou Ding pointed at a random student and said, Chen Kai, you go. The boy named Chen Kai was also holding a bamboo rod. He seemed to be much stronger than the other level 6 students. Chen Kai said, I'm Chen Kai from the southern campus. I'll challenge you. Han Fei narrowed his eyes and began to get serious. Spiritual energy burst out of the bamboo rod. Han Fei was no longer breathing heavily. His face was no longer pale, and his body was no longer shaking. Looking at the incoming staff, he raised his staff and swung it upwards. Clang! The shockwave rushed out, and many students below the 5th rank were forced to retreat. Han Fei was briefly stunned. The guy was not bad. He didn't know the rod technique that he practiced, but there seemed to be another force behind the first one. The impact of the 2 forces almost made him step back. Impressive! Han Fei's eyes glittered, and Chen Kai's expression changed greatly. His attack with 80% of his strength failed to shake the guy at all? Zhou Ding was quite surprised too. Chen Kai had a level 3, high-quality spiritual heritage. He was almost the strongest among the level 6 students in the southern campus. However, he didn't gain any advantage in the first confrontation. Han Fei said, total annihilation. Clang. After a huge noise, Chen Kai's face turned pale and he slid dozens of meters away, his hands shaking. Wasn't this a little too powerful? It was just a rod, so how could it be so powerful? The force was more than 1,000 kilograms. Splitting Mount Hua. Everybody was stunned. What was that technique? What was Mount Hua? Chen Kai, on the other hand, was rather nervous. He tapped the ground, and the bamboo rod was covered in dazzling spiritual energy. Spiritual energy explosion. At that moment, Han Fei hurriedly retreated, and a huge force directly hit him. Fortunately, he blocked the wave of impact with his rod, otherwise he would have been defeated. Di Xiaoyu said in a hurry, this is a spiritual energy explosion. It's very powerful. Even a 7th grader has to dodge it. Han Fei shook his arms and head. It's very powerful. How did you do it? How did you explode it when the spiritual energy was gathered? How is it possible? He took the spiritual energy explosion head-on? Oh my God, is he made of iron? Why is he so hard? Zhou Ding was surprised. This young man was not simple. He was unharmed by the blast of the spiritual energy explosion. It was a sign that his body had been trained to the highest level. To everybody's surprise, the spiritual energy at the tip of Han Fei's rod became more and more dazzling. Han Fei said, spiritual energy explosion. Zhou Ding took action and crushed Han Fei's spiritual energy explosion with one hand. But in the next second, the enormous spiritual energy hit his palm and bounced it away. The mass of spiritual energy exploded, and the air billowed, forcing Han Fei to take 7 or 8 steps back. Han Fei's eyes glowed. It was so strong. He didn't know how to detonate it just now. Thankfully, his teacher helped him, or he wouldn't have known what to do. Zhou Ding was rather embarrassed. He almost failed to shatter a level 6 student's spiritual energy explosion. It was truly humiliating. Zhou Ding narrowed his eyes. You're as strong as a level 8 fisher, and you're shameless enough to cheat a student of my school of swallowed spirit soup? Get lost. Hiss, the students next to him all exclaimed. The combat ability of a level 8 fisher? Was this guy still a student? Wasn't he too strong? Someone was suspicious. Shoot, is he that Tango? Who else in the Eastern Campus is as strong as him? Asshole, you're pretending to be a level 6 when you're only a level 8. Pay for our soup. That's right, shameless Han Fei. Pay for our soup. Han Fei said, why are you yelling? I'm clearly a level 6. Do I have to tell you that I'm born with extraordinary strength? I don't tell you because I prefer to keep a low profile. Han Fei looked at Zhou Ding and said with an awkward smile, Mr. Zhou, well, I'm actually here for a breakthrough. I just experienced the power of the spiritual energy explosion, and I'm quite familiar with it now. Well, I'm leaving. Zhou Ding grabbed Han Fei. Where are you going? Han Fei said, Sir, I'm really a level 6. You can check it if you don't believe me. Zhou Ding simply ignored Han Fei and carried him away. Still floating in midair, Han Fei shouted, He Xiaoyu, let's go. Follow me. So, a bunch of students were left at the gate of the South Campus cafeteria in the wind. Chapter 37. Zhou Ding took Han Fei to an empty training ground and asked, What's wrong with your spiritual energy? Why is it not drained? Han Fei said honestly, Sir, I absorb spiritual energy very fast. I can replenish my spiritual energy with a mouthful of fish soup. Zhou Ding said, That's bullshit. I've never heard of such a physique before. Han Fei rolled his eyes and said, Mr. Zhou, it's true. My master, Wang Jie, has heard of it before. Ask He Xiaoyu if you don't believe me. Her father is a teacher at the Eastern Campus. Zhou Ding looked at He Xiaoyu and the bamboo rod in her hand and frowned. Is your father He Mingtang? He Xiaoyu nodded quickly, hoping that the teacher would not tell her father what happened today. Zhou Ding asked, What level is your real spiritual heritage? Han Fei said, Level 2, low quality. Zhou Ding said, That's bullshit. Little girl, tell me. He Xiaoyu was rather stunned too. She remembered that Han Fei's spiritual heritage was level 1, high quality. How did it become level 2? Did Tangu give Han Fei some miraculous medicine? It did make sense. Spiritual heritage was said to be fixed at birth, and it could never be upgraded. It must be the effect of a top spiritual fruit that boosted Han Fei's spiritual heritage. He Xiaoyu nodded again. She was quite jealous and wished that she had a spiritual fruit too. Zhou Ding frowned even harder. Even if your physique is extraordinary, your spiritual heritage is still limited. You've pissed off so many people today. Besides, it's not good to be too dependent on your special physique. What if something goes wrong with your physique one day? When you don't have that endless spiritual energy and can't perform the exaggerated spiritual energy explosion, what else can you do? Han Fei nodded quickly. You're right, Mr. Zhou. We're leaving. Get lost. Seeing that Han Fei and He Xiaoyu were driven away, Zhou Ding took a deep breath. It was appalling that such a physique existed in this world. It was a pity that while Han Fei had an unparalleled physique, it also limited his future achievements. With a spiritual heritage of level 2, low quality, he would never be a great fishing master even if he was lucky enough. Han Fei and He Xiaoyu left the school gloomily. The moment they got out of the school, they ran as fast as they could. Are we still going to the Northern and Western military academies? He Xiaoyu shook her head while running. No, we're lucky this time. We might not be so lucky next time. Han Fei realized that it made sense. Now that he was in someone else's territory, he was indeed too arrogant. But when he remembered the calabash of swallowed spirit soup, he asked in a hurry, "How much soup do we have?" He Xiaoyu's eyes flashed. 29 bowls in total. Huh? Only 29 bowls? I feel like I've fought many of them. He Xiaoyu rolled her eyes. What do you mean you beat a lot of them? You tricked a lot of them. The real fight was in the last battle, and this guy actually learned spiritual energy explosion. However, He Xiaoyu was not going to tell Han Fei anything. At least, her father told her not to consider this combat skill for anyone below level 7. In a certain corner, Han Fei and He Xiaoyu each carried a calabash, and Han Fei got 20 bowls. After all, he was the one who fought. But in the end, Zhou Ding estimated that he let them go easily for He Xiaoyu's father's sake, so Han Fei gave He Xiaoyu a little more. Halfway through the soup, Han Fei couldn't drink anymore and tried to find a topic. He Xiaoyu, what spiritual energy explosion? I felt that I couldn't control it just now. Thankfully, Mr. Zhou helped me, or there would have been dire consequences. He Xiaoyu asked, how much spiritual energy did you gather just now? Han Fei said, 70 or 80. Pooh. He Xiaoyu spurted out the soup in her mouth and looked at Han Fei, dumbfounded. How much? Seeing He Xiaoyu's reaction, Han Fei scratched his head in embarrassment. Isn't it a bit too much? He Xiaoyu looked at Han Fei as if he were a lunatic. You're level 6. How much spiritual energy do you have in total? Aren't you crazy to gather more than half of your spiritual energy for a fight? He Xiaoyu asked, do you know how much spiritual energy Chen Kai used just now? Han Fei asked, how much? He Xiaoyu said, no more than 25 points. Han Fei was dumbfounded. Seriously? How can 25 points be so strong? Then wouldn't 80 points be enough to kill him? He Xiaoyu said, although you seem to have learned spiritual energy explosion, you don't know how to control it at all. So, even if you really fight with it, you can only overwhelm the enemy with spiritual energy. Your real control is very weak. Han Fei was immediately interested. How do I control it? Teach me. I gave you 9 bowls of fish soup. He Xiaoyu said, why don't you wait until level 7? Learning spiritual energy explosion at level 6 is actually not very useful. My father said that level 6 spiritual energy is not enough and not pure enough, and it's easy to run out. But level 7 is different. After level 7, fishers will have a certain control over spiritual energy. At that time, 1 point of spiritual energy explosion may be even more powerful than 2 points of spiritual energy explosion for regular level 6 fishers. At that time, this skill will be useful. Han Fei asked, huh? So powerful? Han Fei recalled that Chen Kai's performance was already very impressive. He was really shocked when he almost defeated Han Fei with a stick. Han Fei suddenly said, that's not right. I've fought level 7s before. You saw that guy from class 1, but he didn't use spiritual energy explosion. He Xiaoyu rolled her eyes. Can you use spiritual energy explosion on your classmate? If a level 7 expert uses spiritual energy explosion poorly, your life may be in danger. Rolling his eyes, Han Fei suddenly said to He Xiaoyu, Xiaoyu, somebody is trying to kill me. He Xiaoyu? Han Fei said, I suspect that somebody is trying to kill me. I've been on the sea for 5 days, right? The fishing boat was destroyed by someone. Han Fei talked a lot and then looked at He Xiaoyu, his eyes glittering. Can you teach me spiritual energy explosion? I'll trade the rest of the swallowed spirit soup for it. He Xiaoyu was lost for words at Han Fei's sympathy. She had gotten the swallowed spirit soup for nothing in the first place, and he wanted to trade it for spiritual energy explosion? He Xiaoyu said, I don't know how to. My father didn't let me learn it. Han Fei asked, why doesn't your father teach you anything? He doesn't teach you anything. Are you his son? He Xiaoyu immediately picked up the bamboo stick and poked Han Fei. Of course I'm his son. Why don't you believe me? Han Fei shouted, hey, stop. Rather annoyed by the girl's weakness, Han Fei immediately scolded her, which gave He Xiaoyu a fright. Han Fei said, just because your father doesn't let you practice it doesn't mean that you can't. Do you have the determination to be an expert? Cultivators like us must know how to defy the natural order. Fine, if you have a solution I can trade treasures for it. Han Fei thought that He Xiaoyu would ask him what treasures he had curiously. But He Xiaoyu simply pouted her lips. You're mean to me. You're mean to me. Han Fei? Therefore, amazing creatures such as women did not need to be differentiated by size. When a woman felt wronged, if it was a man who wronged her, you're mean to me would represent all her thoughts at this moment. Han Fei drank the swallowed spirit soup silently. It seemed that he wouldn't recover any time soon. He Xiaoyu nagged, You're mean to me. You want me to steal things and you don't believe my father. More importantly, you're mean to me. Han Fei couldn't drink the soup anymore. He immediately took out a small bottle and said, I'll trade with you. He Xiaoyu's aggrieved face immediately changed, and her eyes widened. Is this the iron fish body polishing fluid? He Xiaoyu gasped hard. The iron fish body polishing fluid was made of the brains of ironhead fish. It was said that dozens of adult ironhead fish were needed to refine one tiny bottle of the iron fish body polishing fluid. Han Fei had such a good stuff. He Xiaoyu extended her hand and tried to grab it. Han Fei hurried to withdraw his hand. Well, about spiritual energy explosion, He Xiaoyu snorted and glared at Han Fei. I really don't know how to do that, but it's not entirely beyond my control. In fact, spiritual energy explosion is about the control of spiritual energy. As long as you have enough control over your own spiritual energy explosion will be very simple. Han Fei asked in a hurry, How do you control it? He Xiaoyu said, I don't know. You just need to make more use of your spiritual energy. For example, the process of fishing, casting, reeling, and retracting are all forms of control. If you want insights on the use of spiritual energy explosion, one bottle of the iron fish body polishing fluid is far from enough. Besides, you only have half a bottle. Han Fei was even more tempted. Although the iron fish body polishing fluid was also a treasure, it was far from comparable to spiritual energy explosion. That thing was a life-saving technique for him. He had to get it. Han Fei said gently, He Xiaoyu, are we good friends? He Xiaoyu said warily, No. Han Fei said, You're here to challenge me? If your father learns of this, TSK, He Xiaoyu said, I'm just passing by. Fine, what do you want? Han Fei said cunningly, Well, can you give me a copy of your insights on spiritual energy control? I'll share them with you as soon as I find anything good. Han Fei said gently, He Xiaoyu, the fishing trial is around the corner. It doesn't matter who your father is in the trial. How about I give you a spirit refilling pill? You have a spirit refilling pill? He Xiaoyu exclaimed. Han Fei asked, How about it? He Xiaoyu hesitated. But, Han Fei said, Okay, that's enough. 2. He Xiaoyu said, No, my father. Chapter 38. He Xiaoyu eventually agreed. Han Fei found that the girl was a money grubber. It had to be because her father was too strict with her, especially on her cultivation. Her father had been very strict with He Xiaoyu in order to raise her into a great fishing master. As a result, the girl craved for good stuff. At this moment, He Mingtang was teaching a class at school. The two of them snuck to He Xiaoyu's house. Half an hour later, He Xiaoyu ran out of the house in panic. He Xiaoyu guiltily covered a booklet and said, Here you go. This is all I found. Let's go. We'll be doomed if my mother finds out. Han Fei put on a mysterious smile. Good job. I'll share more swallowed spirit soup with you later. At the gate of the school, both of them had smiles on their faces. He Xiaoyu had received 3 spirit refilling pills, and Han Fei had learned how to use spiritual energy. Both of them felt that they had benefited greatly. He Xiaoyu. Suddenly, a stern reprimand came from behind the school gate. He Mingtang's eyes were almost bursting with fury. He looked at his worthless daughter and glared at Han Fei maliciously. Han Fei, on the other hand, was not much better. The smile on his face was completely frozen. Seeing Wang Jie's unfriendly face and the teacher next to Wang Jie, he changed his face and shouted at He Xiaoyu, Run! Wang Jie was so angry that he laughed. Now you remember to run? What were you doing earlier? Then, Wang Jie cast his fishing hook at Han Fei quickly. Han Fei felt the malice coming from behind him. His body twisted involuntarily into a strange posture and the fish hook brushed past his shoulder. The three fishing masters, including He Mingtang, all exclaimed in shock. How could a level 6 fisher dodge Wang Jie's fishing hook? Wang Jie was elected as a law enforcer of the regular fisheries because of his extraordinary strength. As a late-stage fishing master in his 30s, it was possible that he could become a great fishing master before he was 40. How could his fishing hook be dodged? Wang Jie felt rather embarrassed. With a flash of spiritual energy on the fishing line, the hook was twisted and darted at Han Fei at a higher speed. Han Fei sweated. I just went to get a few bowls of fish soup. Do they have to greet me like this? While he was thinking, his body flipped on the spot, narrowly dodging the fish hook again. Wang Jie's old face suddenly turned red, but he was astonished in his heart. How could this kid be so flexible? Zhou Ding said in surprise, Old Wang, this student is quite interesting. He might be able to make it to the top 100 of the fishing trial, right? Wang Jie coldly snorted and said, Him? Top 100? Just don't be at the bottom. This time, Wang Jie did not hold back. The speed of the hook multiplied. Even though Han Fei managed to evade the hook with one leg, the end result was that the hook twisted and bound his other leg. As the fishing line was retracted, Han Fei was dragged all the way to the school gate, which attracted a lot of attention. Wang Jie, kid, do you think your wings have hardened and you're floating? Seeing this scene, He Xiaoyu was scared. Fortunately, she did not run away, or it would be embarrassing for a girl to be dragged like this. Han Fei, on the other hand, shouted, Sir, I'm innocent. I only went to the southern campus to communicate with my classmates. Wang Jie said to Zhou Ding with a smile, Mr. Zhou, thank you for the trip. I'll definitely teach this kid a lesson. Zhou Ding, on the other hand, laughed. That's not necessary. I think the kid is not bad. Why don't you come to the southern campus to study? Wang Jie said, that won't be necessary. The fishing trial is drawing near, and our school is preparing to concentrate on training. We don't have time to go to the southern campus. Zhou Ding smiled. Okay, I'll be going back now. Wang Jie said, see you, Mr. Qin. After Zhou Ding left, Wang Jie's face changed. He grabbed Han Fei and sneered, What's so good about you? You blocked the gate of the southern campus and showed off your abilities. Are you asking to be killed? Do you think you can do whatever you want as a level 8 fisher? Do you think that nobody can stop you? Han Fei said, Sir, I'm not. I didn't know that the southern campus was so weak. Wang Jie sneered, Weak? Do you think that you were strong before? If it weren't for the things that Tango left for you, would you have been as strong as you are today? Do you know how many people will have their eyes on you when you reveal this strength? Han Fei was stunned. Who would target a level 6 fisher? Before Wang Jie said anything, He Mingtang had already said, Everybody knows that you improved so fast because Tangu was favored by the angels and prepared a lot of good things for you. They dare not piss off Tangu, but it's not difficult for them to kill you and dig out your secrets. He Mingtang made up his mind that his daughter would never hang out with this guy again, or God knew how much trouble he would cause. Seeing that Han Fei was stunned, Wang Jie said, Do you understand now? Nobody dares to touch Tangu, but nobody dares to touch you? You'll be grounded for 3 days. Reflect on yourself. Han Fei smiled bitterly. He had forgotten about that. He had been improving his strength quickly under Tang Ji's name, but his performance had been too outstanding recently. But his recent performance was so outstanding that people couldn't help but wonder if Tang Ge had left some opportunities for Han Fei. Han Fei said, Sir, I was wrong. I won't fight again. But the confinement, Wang Jie sneered, 3 days. Not a moment less. Han Fei was taken away by Wang Jie. He Mingtang glared at He Xiaoyu. Go home and stay in the house for 5 days. He Xiaoyu said pitifully, Dad, I didn't fight. He Mingtang said, Go back. Then, everybody saw Han Fei crawl out of the hole with a dirty face and a bird's nest hairstyle. Han Fei thought to himself that he had underestimated the power of the spiritual energy explosion. It was too powerful. Half of his spiritual energy was 110 points, but it was still so powerful. What if he used all his spiritual energy? The entire confinement room would be blown up. Wang Jie and the others' eyelids twitched. How could this guy be fine under such power? Chapter 39. In the office. Han Fei stood there with his hair in a bird's nest, his eyes rolling. Wang Jie said solemnly, "Speak. Who taught you spiritual energy explosion?" This time, nobody thought that it was Tangu who taught Han Fei the basics of spiritual energy explosion. Last time, the teacher of the southern campus made it clear that Han Fei learned it from his opponent in a fight and knew nothing about spiritual energy explosion. Han Fei said, "Sir, I was in seclusion for 3 days and had an epiphany." Pa, Wang Jie slapped Han Fei's head. "You're too shameless. You were supposed to be locked up for 3 days, but you said that you were in seclusion for 3 days. Bullshit. Spiritual energy explosion is a technique that requires proficiency. Was it you who comprehended it?" Han Fei said, "Sir, I really figured it out on my own. I've been locked up for 3 days. Wang Jie was lost for words. That's right. The boy was locked up the moment he returned to school. Did he really figure it out on his own? However, He Mingtang, who was in the same office, was gloomy. He felt that something was wrong. His daughter had been hiding from him in the past few days. Was there really no connection between them? Wang Jie did not think too much. He simply criticized, "Brat, do you know why spiritual energy explosion is not taught below level 7? Firstly, it's because you don't have enough spiritual energy. Secondly, your veins are not strong enough. And thirdly, you need proficiency to practice spiritual energy explosion. Spiritual energy explosion is the simplest of all techniques, but have you ever seen a fisher below level 7 use it?" Han Fei lowered his head and gnashed his teeth. "You like hitting my head, don't you? Fine, fine, fine. I'll blow up your head when I'm awesome. My veins are not strong enough. No wonder my arm was sore and my veins seemed to be torn apart when I used it just now. So, my veins were not strong enough? Then, didn't I only need to strengthen my veins?" Han Fei, I'm here. Pa, do you take my words as a passing wind? How dare you be absent-minded?" Han Fei grinned and secretly cursed. "Wang Jie, you bastard. Just wait and see. I'll slap your head away one day." The moment he left the office, he went home to get the ghost bead. The essence of the ghost blade clam was all contained in a ghost bead, which could strengthen one's veins and meridians. If the effect was really good, it wouldn't be a problem for him to have more spiritual energy. After what happened last time, Han Fei became more cautious, fearing that he would be targeted, so he kept a low profile along the way. At this moment, Han Fei was hiding behind a big tree and looking around to see if he had been discovered. "Little friend, are you Han Fei?" Suddenly, someone behind Han Fei spoke, which scared Han Fei out of his wits. He immediately raised his purple bamboo rod. "Little friend, don't panic. I mean you no harm." When Han Fei took a closer look, he saw that it was a burly man who looked like a calf. However, this man did not look like a simple and honest person. There were 3 scars on the muscular man's face. One pierced through half of his face, another pierced through one of his eyes, and the last one was even more terrifying. His mouth had actually been torn open. Even though it had already healed, it still looked terrifying. Han Fei asked, "Who are you?" The strong man put on a smile that was uglier than crying. "I'm Li Ju, the leader of the tigers. A few days ago, my men were arrogant and willful and offended you. I hope you can let bygones be bygones. If you need anything, as long as the tigers can give it to you, we will never be stingy." Han Fei knew that he was here to apologize. The tigers must have learned of his relationship with Tangu, so the leader of the tigers came to apologize in person. If this matter had not been made public, the tigers could have killed him. Unfortunately, they missed the opportunity and failed to catch him. Since they missed the opportunity, they had to make up for it. Han Fei breathed a sigh of relief. "So it's you, Leader Li. Since you've come in person, of course I'll forgive you. However, a few days ago Brother Gang and the others provoked me several times. Please restrain them, Leader Li, otherwise, the reputation of the tigers will be greatly damaged." Li Ju grinned ferociously. "Of course, little friend, you will never see them in the heavenly water town again." Han Fei was shocked. What did he mean? They were all dead? He had heard that the tigers had done a lot of evil things and many people who offended them were thrown into the sea to feed the fish. Now he saw them in person. He didn't expect Li Ju to be so cruel. However, Han Fei rolled his eyes and was almost scared by this guy. If he was not strong-willed, who would dare to continue to make trouble for the tigers? Who would dare to ask for compensation after being scared by Li Ju and nodding like a chicken pecking rice? Considering that this matter had been made public, Han Fei immediately sneered. Leader Li, my brother left me dozens of bottles of iron fish body polishing fluid, but when I returned that day, I found that they were all missing. Leader Li, do you think? Han Fei felt that the air suddenly became quiet, as if bursts of killing intent appeared out of thin air. Looking at Li Ju's ferocious face, he wondered if this guy still wanted to kill him. Han Fei didn't believe that if he dared to kill him in this case, not only Tang Ge would not let him go, but also the teachers in the school. Sure enough, after looking at each other for a while, Li Ju said with a smile, "Of course. It's my fault. I'll give them all to you later." Han Fei nodded. There's nothing else, except for some mid-quality pearls and a few spirit-refilling pills. The air was quiet again. Even Li Ju himself felt a little shocked and wanted to kill Han Fei. This kid is so ungrateful. The iron fish body polishing fluid is precious, not to mention the spirit-refilling pills, which are life-saving pills. How dare you ask for them? Han Fei looked at Li Ju quietly, looking harmless. He really didn't believe that Li Ju dared to kill him. Li Ju gritted his teeth. Okay, the tigers will compensate you. Please take care, little friend. Han Fei grinned and said, "Goodbye, Boss Li." After a while, Li Ju appeared in place, looking coldly in the direction where Han Fei left. Suddenly, he punched the big tree next to him. The huge tree body actually broke with a sound. Someone next to Li Ju looked unfriendly. "Leader, this kid has gone too far. This is extortion. I'm willing to—" "Shut up." Li Ju calmed down and said, "Money is just a worldly possession. The most important thing is to survive. Tang Ge can't stay here for long. After the awakening, he will leave. I don't know when I can come back. Let's see how arrogant this kid is." Han Fei was in a good mood. Dozens of bottles of iron fish body polishing fluid. The tigers are so rich. It will be easier for me to practice the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing in the future. He had to admit that the tigers were very fast. The things he asked for in the morning were delivered in the afternoon. Han Fei checked them. There were 10 bottles of iron fish body polishing fluid, 50 mid-quality pearls, and 5 spirit refilling pills. Demiliju. Han Fei trembled with anger. I said dozens of bottles of iron fish body polishing fluid, not 10. And 5 spirit refilling pills? Do you think I'm a beggar? But Han Fei really wronged Li Ju. How could the iron fish body polishing fluid be so easy to get? And the spirit refilling pills, which were useless in his eyes, were life-saving pills in the eyes of others. 5 of them was already enough to make him vomit blood. Han Fei kept complaining, "Old bastard, you're so stingy." "Fine, I'm so easily satisfied. I'll make do with them for now." Fortunately, Li Ju didn't hear Han Fei's complaints. Otherwise, he might have slapped him to death on the spot. In the cave, Han Fei pinched the ghost bead. This bead was said to be able to warm and expand meridians. He didn't know how effective it was, but he swallowed it without hesitation. After a while, the effect of the ghost bead was not too magical. Han Fei only felt that the meridians all over his body were a little cold, a bit like the feeling of taking an intravenous drip. After a full hour, Han Fei felt that his meridians might be a little stronger, because some unknown impurities oozed out of his skin. No, I thought this thing would be very powerful, but it turns out that it's not very effective. It seems that I have to take at least 5 or 7 of them together. Fortunately, others didn't know what Han Fei was thinking at the moment, or they would definitely beat him to death. The precious medicine that could strengthen meridians was hard to come by, but this guy thought it was not very effective. 3 days later, in a certain cave on the floating island of Heavenly Water Town, a crackling sound rang out. A youth was lying on the ground with his arms and legs spread out. The youth's clothes were drenched and he was gasping for breath. Who knew what he had just experienced? Phew, I've finally made it. This time, I should be really invincible among my peers. Han Fei looked at the data. Owner Han Fei, level 6, intermediate fisher, spiritual energy greater than 1288, 249. Spiritual heritage level 2, low quality, upgradable. Weapons purple bamboo rod, main art, void fishing, chapter 1. Hook kiss, mortal level, divine quality. He had already felt the bottleneck. Sure enough, his spiritual energy was stuck at 249 points. Han Fei felt that he could make a breakthrough, but a breakthrough required a lot of spiritual energy, and his consumption of spiritual energy was a bit high. Chapter 40. At the port. I can't go to sea? Sister Qin said, given that you encountered 2 fish tides in a row and your fishing boat was damaged, the inspectors think that you may have offended someone, so you are not allowed to go to sea for now. There are only 9 days left before your fishing trial. I suggest you consolidate your cultivation during this period. Han Fei asked, have you found the culprit? Sister Qin said, no evidence, but we have reason to suspect that the tigers did this. The tigers? Han Fei's eyes turned cold. He was not surprised to know the answer at all. How could an ordinary person destroy a fishing boat in a place like the port without being noticed? In this way, the things he blackmailed from Li Ju seemed not worth mentioning at all. Okay, Sister Qin, I'll go back first. Since he couldn't go to sea, he had no source of spiritual energy, which was intolerable to Han Fei. In the market, all kinds of food stalls had begun to advertise and people were shuttling back and forth. Suddenly, Han Fei heard someone shouting, water, water, clean rainwater. 20 sea coins per caddy. By now, only 500 caddies. Someone bargained, boss, 20 sea coins? That's too expensive. Didn't it rain a few days ago? Your asking price is too high. Someone echoed, Old Qin, 18 caddies per caddy. Give me 10 caddies. Old Qin chuckled. Expensive? The last time it rained was half a month ago. I had to squeeze out 500 caddies myself. Besides, the sea has been calm recently. The next time it rains may be half a month later. The water will only get more and more expensive. 20 sea coins per caddy, no bargaining. Buy it if you want it. The crowd was slightly quiet. Then someone said, fine, Old Qin, give me 20 caddies. Give me 10 caddies. Give me 50 caddies. Dumbfounded, Han Fei watched that 500 caddies of water were sold out in only 2 minutes. He couldn't help but gasp. Wasn't it too fast to make money? He made a mid-quality pearl in just a few minutes. Was water so valuable nowadays? It made sense. The floating islands were not connected to the earth veins but flew in the sky without source water. They could only form rain through the evaporation of the sea. But unexpectedly, the rainfall here didn't seem to be too frequent, which led to a serious shortage of water resources. But the seawater resources here are endless. Wouldn't he be rich by making distilled water? While he was thinking, he passed by a beggar. Wait, something's not right. Levitating island. Everyone was cultivating. Where did this beggar come from? The beggar's face was covered in dirt, and he was holding a broken bowl and swaying it back and forth. However, the moment the beggar saw Han Fei, he stepped back in horror, got up, and tried to run away. Stop, don't move. The beggar quickly begged for mercy. Young master, please spare my life. I've already been kicked out. Han Fei was stunned. Are you, brother Gang? The beggar shook his head. Xiao Gang, you can just call me Xiao Gang. Han Fei, you're not dead? Hearing this, Li Gang's legs trembled. So you really want me to die? Since learning that Han Fei was Tang Ji's brother, Brother Gang's lackeys were all dead. Brother Gang had to spend all of his family's assets to barely survive. But he was still hung on a pole by the tigers for 3 days. Fortunately, he used to be a nobody in the East City. Many people knew him, so he didn't end up being killed. But even so, he was kicked out of the tigers by Li Ju, and his heart was broken. At this moment, he had less than 10% of his strength, which was quite miserable. Li Gang hugged Han Fei's leg and said, Young master, please spare me. I can't die. Little Red is still waiting for me to raise her. If I die, Little Red will be taken away by others. Han Fei shrugged. Who wants to kill you? I'm very kind. Li Gang secretly complained, You're not kind at all. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have ended up like this today. Han Fei asked, Were you kicked out of the tigers? Li Gang nodded miserably, and there was still fear in his eyes. He couldn't afford to offend Han Fei now. Han Fei had an idea. How about this? How about you follow me in the future? I'll take you to eat and drink well. Li Gang suspected that he had heard wrong. He won't kill me? Is he kidding me? Han Fei shrugged. What? How about this? Clean yourself up and come to my house to find me. I happen to be short of manpower now. I'll give you the opportunity. It's up to you whether you can seize it or not. Although Li Gang was a gangster, he was also very cunning. Could he follow Han Fei? Of course, his brother was Tangu. When a man became a Taoist, so would Han Fei have a bad life in the future? Obviously not. But what did he have that caught Han Fei's attention? Did he want him to collect protection fees? Thinking of the 2 times he was robbed by Han Fei, Li Gang thought it was very possible. Half an hour later, Li Gang came, but his face was pale, which showed that he was seriously injured, but his dirty face had been cleaned up. When Li Gang came, Han Fei was fiddling with some bottles and pots and even took out the big pot at home. Li Gang didn't know what he was doing. Seeing Li Gang, Han Fei asked without raising his head, How much strength do you have left? Li Gang trembled. About the same as a level 2 fisher. Li Gang wanted to die. Did he want to become a beggar? Of course not, but fishing with the strength of a level 2 fisher would be courting death. Han Fei raised his head in surprise. Are you crippled? Li Gang's face was ugly. Not really. It's just that this kind of recovery pill is too expensive. It's worth up to 10 mid-quality pearls, Han Fei sneered. That's why I said that if you work for bad guys, you will be ruthlessly abandoned at any time. With that, Han Fei took out a dozen mid-quality pearls and placed them in front of Li Gang. I can help you heal your injuries, but don't betray me. However, you can't betray me. Otherwise, you won't just be injured. Your Lil Red might really be snatched away by someone else. Li Gang's eyes were full of disbelief. A dozen mid-quality pearls were for him? Li Gang's heart warmed up and he immediately burst into tears. Young master, I, Li Gang, am yours from now on. If you ask me to hunt ironhead fish, I will never hunt spirit-swallowing fish. Han Fei waved his hand and said, Okay, don't call me young master. Call me young master from now on. Tell me, is there any seasonings on our island? What seasonings? It's a seasoning that can make food more delicious. For example, salt. Han Fei hadn't had a decent meal since he came to this world. Almost everything he ate was salted, but salt alone was useless. Could salt get rid of the fishy smell of seafood? Li Gang was suddenly enlightened. Young master, you mean spices? But spices are things that only the rich can afford. Han Fei's eyes lit up. Really? Li Gang nodded. Yes, but ordinary people generally don't eat them. Most spices can only be bought with mid-quality pearls. Han Fei was a little disappointed. That was too expensive. He had planned to open a barbecue stall and sell some distilled water, but the price of spices was so high that he could only make some for himself. What about wine? Li Gang said, Wine is cheap. The fish head wine is only 30 C coins per caddy. Young master, do you want to drink wine? Let's go. Show me the spices first. On the south side of the floating island near the cliff, there was a plantation of 1,000 acres. Looking at the flourishing vegetation here, Han Fei asked in surprise, Are there farmers on the island? Li Gang scratched his head. That's not it. I heard that in the beginning, there were people in the town who came to plant spiritual herbs. Maybe because our island's environment isn't good, they couldn't grow them. In the end, all the spiritual herbs degenerated, and many of them became spices. But even so, many people think that spices are also spiritual herbs, so spices are very expensive. The plantation was guarded by an old man who was basking in the sun with a jar of wine in his hand. He didn't seem to see Han Fei and Li Gang at all. Han Fei stepped forward. Grandpa, we're here to buy spices. The old man opened one eye and glanced at Han Fei. Then he continued to bask in the sun and said unhurriedly, "You can't afford it." Han Fei's face was gloomy. "Why can't I afford it? I still have 50 mid-quality pearls." The old man raised his hand and pointed at a wooden shelf not far away. "They're all over there. One mid-quality pearl for each." Han Fei walked over curiously, only to be dumbfounded at first glance. Chapter 41. Han Fei was shocked. Could there be similar plants in the universe? Although the strawberry looked as big as a fist, it was clearly a strawberry. No matter how big it grew, it was still a strawberry. Li Gang introduced, "Huh? Young master, this is a red fruit. I bought it before. I thought it was a spiritual fruit based on its color, but it doesn't have any reaction at all. It's just delicious." Li Gang smacked his lips as he introduced it. Unfortunately, it was too extravagant to trade a mid-quality pearl for a strawberry, so he could only stare at it. Han Fei chuckled. "It would be strange if you had any reaction after eating it. Since when did strawberries become spiritual fruits?" When Han Fei took a closer look, he was speechless. What was in it? He saw figs the size of apples, raisins the size of fists, dates, persimmons, peaches, cherries. They were all several times bigger. There were also a lot of flowers. After searching for a long time, Han Fei found a few that he recognized, such as roses, crabapples, kaffir lilies, chrysanthemums, peonies. In terms of color, any of them would be the most precious of treasures on earth. There were almost 1,000 species on the way, and Han Fei recognized almost 100 of them. Wait, potatoes? Han Fei's eyes glittered as he found a potato the size of a watermelon. There were potatoes in this alternate world. Then Han Fei saw carrots, yams, peanuts, red peppers, garlic. Shoot, garlic. Looking at the garlic the size of a finger, Han Fei immediately thought of garlic crayfish and swallowed. Unfortunately, to Han Fei's disappointment, everything here was sold individually. How could he afford it? He even felt that even the village leader might not be able to afford it. Then he found dozens of other plants that he knew one after another. Those were just the ones he knew. There were 1,000 more that he didn't know. Breathing quickly, Han Fei came to the old man and asked, "Grandpa, what if you can't sell these? Spices?" The old man smacked his lips lazily and gulped down a mouthful of wine. After a few sips, he said lazily, "If I can't sell them, I'll just throw them to the ground. They'll grow back." Han Fei was dumbfounded. "If you can't sell them, you'll just throw them to the ground? Isn't that a waste?" The old man opened his eyes and glanced at Han Fei. "You want them? Give me the money." "Not so many." The old man waved his hand. "Go away if you don't have money. Don't disturb my sleep." Han Fei's face was dark. It was not his style to return empty-handed after entering a treasure mountain. He was almost certain that this old man was no ordinary person. Otherwise, this place would have been robbed long ago. How could it be like this, with not a single person in sight? After a long silence, Han Fei said, "Grandpa, I see that no one cares about your garden. Do you want me to give you a hand?" Without opening his eyes, Amos said, "Kid, come back when you awaken your spiritual beast." Han Fei squinted. On the way back, Han Fei looked back many times. Garlic, clams, prawns. Just thinking about it made his mouth water. It would have been fine if he didn't know that there were such things in this world before, but now that he knew, he definitely couldn't give up. After all, he still had to stay in this godforsaken place for a long time. Li Gang was baffled. "Young master, this old man is very arrogant. Should we go and teach him a lesson? Also, the spiritual fruits don't have any effect at all. Are you really going to farm for this old man?" Han Fei asked, "Teach him a lesson? Gang Zi, do you know what gangsters are most afraid of?" Han Fei said, "They're most afraid of mistakes. I can guarantee that if you dare to teach this old man a lesson, he can throw you into the ocean from the floating island with one hand." "What? That's not going to happen. I've never heard of this old man fighting anyone." Too lazy to explain to him, Han Fei simply asked, "Gang Zi, how do you think I can make money quickly?" Li Gang replied without thinking, "Collect protection fees. Get lost." Han Fei pondered as he walked. If he couldn't go to sea, he couldn't have fish tides, and if he couldn't have fish tides, he couldn't absorb spiritual energy. Although he still had 10 bottles of iron fish body polishing fluid, he dared not use them. What if he couldn't suppress himself and made a breakthrough after he reached the peak of level 6? He didn't have that enormous amount of spiritual energy. As for the school, he couldn't drink the swallowed spirit soup anymore. Did he have to buy fish from the market? No, that's too extravagant. Alas, I really want to open a barbecue stall. Han Fei took a deep breath. Forget it. There's only one way. Gang Zi, go buy wine. Li Gang asked, young master, how many caddies do you want? Try 100 caddies first. Pooh, Li Gang was stunned. What? 100 caddies? Han Fei said, just buy it. Yes, young master. One day later, Han Fei finally made a jar of hard liquor. The alcohol content on the floating island was very low. Although he didn't know how to ferment it with fish heads, as long as it was liquor, he could always purify it. So, after a day of hard work, a jar of liquor with a high alcohol content was made. Han Fei said, Gang Zi, come here. Li Gang had recovered 30% of his strength. He swooshed over to Han Fei. Young master. Han Fei said, have a taste of this wine. Li Gang didn't know what Han Fei was doing. Anyway, he knew that the 100 caddies of wine he bought were now only 40 caddies. When Han Fei poured the wine out, a burst of fragrance greeted his nose, and Li Gang's eyes lit up. Young master, this wine smells so good. Li Gang picked up the bowl and enjoyed it for a while. Then he drank all the wine in the bowl in one gulp. It's burning. Li Gang looked horrified. He felt that Han Fei was trying to kill him, and his throat was almost spewing fire. But why did it feel a little good? After dozens of seconds, Li Gang was panting and his face was red. Young master? Bam! Seeing Li Gang's head fall to the ground, Han Fei nodded in satisfaction. Hey, does that old man like to drink? In the plantation. Han Fei walked in with a pot of 20 caddies of wine. There was still only an old man basking in the sun. Pop! Han Fei lifted the lid of the wine, and the fragrance of the wine immediately spread. The old man who had been lazily basking in the sun suddenly bounced up and stared at Han Fei with narrowed eyes. Is this wine? Han Fei grinned. Grandpa, I specially brought it for you. Have a taste? The old man quickly picked up the wine jar, sniffed it, and immediately became spirited. Good wine. With that, the old man raised his head and took a sip, which made Han Fei's eyebrows jump. This old man was really wild. Ultra-quality wine. Where did you find this wine? At this moment, the old man was completely different from before, looking at Han Fei expectantly. Han Fei said, don't worry about where I got it. Anyway, in the entire Heavenly Water Village, only I have it. The old man smiled. Not just in the Heavenly Water Village, you can't find such good wine even in the city. Han Fei's eyes narrowed. In the city? This old man was really not an ordinary person. According to He Xiaoyu, even the village leader had only been to the town. Few people in the entire Heavenly Water Village had been to the city. Blushing, the old man drank another mouthful of wine and said, Tell me, boy, what do you want from me? Han Fei said, I want to exchange this wine for your spices, Grandpa. The old man nodded and said, This is indeed rare wine. I've never seen such strong wine in my life. It's a treasure. In that case, I'll give you 100 kilograms of it. Han Fei felt surprised. Good heavens, a big strawberry cost a mid-quality pearl yesterday, and now it's 100 kilograms? But Han Fei immediately took out a big bag from his back, walked to the red pepper and garlic, and dug into the bag. The old man exclaimed in surprise, Little child, these two things are not delicious. One is so spicy that you want to spit fire, and the other has a pungent smell. The red fruit, on the other hand, is sweet and sour, and tastes first class. Han Fei didn't care but raised his head and asked, Grandpa, do you have ginger here? What is it? Well, they grow underground, and when you dig them up, they're all yellow. The old man understood. Are you talking about the yellow ball? Isn't the yellow ball over there? Han Fei saw that the old man pointed at the potato and quickly shook his head. It's flatter than that. Flat. The old man looked at Han Fei in surprise. Are you talking about the tongue numbness? That thing is not delicious. My tongue will go numb when I eat it. I didn't dig it in the ground. But how do you know about the tongue numbness? Han Fei grinned. You don't have to worry about that. I'll bring it to you when I'm done. The old man narrowed his eyes. You want to refine medicine? I'm afraid you can't. These are all spiritual flowers and fruits of the lowest quality. They are almost useless for the human body. Even if they can be refined into pills, the effect won't be much better. Han Fei said, You'll know when the time comes. Under the guidance of the old man, Han Fei dug 100 kilograms of ginger, peppers, and garlic. Chapter 42. At the departure port. In the center of the bazaar, Han Fei spent 10 mid-quality pearls to rent a booth. It was obvious that every inch of land here was extremely valuable. At this moment, there was a sign erected here, attracting the attention of countless people. Someone said disdainfully, Oh, you sure talk big. #1 delicacy in the world? Are you bragging? One of the other vendors sneered, Have you been to the world? You still call this the most delicious food in the world? Someone was curious. What are they going to do here? Standing in front of the barbecue grill, Han Fei shouted to the crowd, Today, the world's most delicious barbecue stall officially opens. Everything is half price. I guarantee that you'll eat until your tongue falls off. From then on, you'll fall in love with our world's most delicious barbecue stall. Barbecue stall? What is that? A passerby asked curiously. Don't worry. I'll make some for you later. You can have a taste for free. If you don't like it, it's free. Really? Kid, you can make the decision, right? Is it free if it's not delicious? Of course, I mean what I say. Gang Z, start the fire. On the long barbecue rack, there were small white fish, big conchas, big clams, big yellow croaker slices, small octopus tentacles, small white shrimp. Dozens of seafood were placed on it. Han Fei, on the other hand, was quite happy. All the seafood he touched was drained of spiritual energy, which meant that all the barbecue here had no spiritual energy. When Han Fei took out a red pepper, he shouted at the crowd, Everyone, you may not believe me, but I'm a red pepper. This is a red tear fruit, a type of spiritual fruit. Do you know how much it costs? 1 mid-quality pearl. Hua! The crowd burst into an uproar. A spiritual fruit that cost a mid-quality pearl was being bought as a snack? Someone said in disbelief, Liar, how could such a luxurious thing be used to make food? How much did you sell it for? Han Fei said, I can make dozens of servings of this spiritual fruit. It's not expensive. As for the price, we guarantee that we will not cheat anyone. All the prices are written on this board. When Han Fei showed the price board, everyone was in an uproar again. Someone criticized, Kid, aren't you cheating us? You're selling little white fish for 10 low-quality pearls per caddy? You've increased it by dozens of times. That's right, his heart is too black. You're selling the clam for 20 low-quality pearls? That's more than 100 times the price. No matter how delicious it is, I won't buy it. 10 days of hard work and I can only buy a small octopus. What a loss. I'll only try the free food. I'll leave after I'm done. If it wasn't for the title of the world's most delicious food hanging here, I wouldn't have stopped to look. I really want to see what kind of ability this little kid has to make the most delicious food in the world. The crowd was full of criticism, and Li Gang's forehead was full of sweat. When he first saw the price board, he was also shocked. He wouldn't believe that someone would eat such expensive food. However, Han Fei took out the ginger and garlic and shouted, Whether it's worth it or not depends on how you see it. Even if it was a small white fish, would it still be an ordinary small white fish after I added 3 kinds of spiritual fruits? In addition to the 3 types of spirit fruits, I also used the best quality fish oil and the appropriate amount of salt. Just don't refuse to leave later. Someone sneered. Who knows if the spiritual fruit is real or not? Exactly. No one has seen what a spiritual fruit looks like. Do you think it's a spiritual fruit just because you say it's a spiritual fruit? How can a spiritual fruit only cost 1 mid-quality pearl? Han Fei nodded. Whether it's true or not, you can go to the southern plantation to have a look. All the spiritual fruits in this shop are guaranteed to be authentic, but if it's a fraud, I'll pay you 10 times the price if it's fake. Wow. Really? How dare he say that? It doesn't seem to be fake. Does this little kid have so much money? Isn't this the good-for-nothing Han Fei? Someone responded, I heard that Tanggu is his brother and gave him a lot of benefits. Now he is no longer a good-for-nothing but a genius. At this moment, Han Fei had brushed the fish oil several times. The onlookers couldn't help but gasp. Is fish oil free? Fish oil is very expensive. That's a caddy of fish oil that can only be extracted from countless fish. It's very expensive, but Han Fei just casually used it. And the fish oil was dripping into the fire, which made everyone's heart ache. Some people even secretly whispered, this is clearly a spendthrift. On the side, Li Gang had already crushed the peppers and garlic into pieces and was ready to be used. When Han Fei smeared the minced garlic on the barbecue, the crowd immediately exclaimed, Wow, it smells so good. It's so fragrant. Is this the power of a spiritual fruit? Someone was shocked. It's said that spiritual fruits are like this. The fragrance can spread around and make people unable to walk. It seems that this spiritual fruit is real. At this moment, not to mention the onlookers, even Han Fei kept swallowing. And when the peppers were brushed on the barbecue, the fragrance became stronger again. Han Fei shouted, Everyone, it's almost ready. In a few minutes, the first batch of barbecue will be ready. The first batch is free. Don't fight for it. If it's delicious, you can support my shop. Half price today, half price today, half price today, half price today. I'll repeat this 3 times. 2 minutes later, Han Fei shouted, Okay, little gang, next batch. A crowd of people moved and everyone stared at the barbecue in Han Fei's hand. Han Fei cut the barbecue into hundreds of pieces with a blade fish dagger and shouted, Come on, don't fight for it. Everyone have a taste. Let me. Get out of the way. I'll try it first. I got here first. Boy, you give it to me first. Don't push. I'll try it for you. Li Gang was a little dumbfounded. Were they all so enthusiastic? They were just trying to taste the spiritual fruit. Who would really spend money on such expensive food? A young man, who was at the front of the line, was the first to get a sample. He got a big clam, which was golden and had 3 kinds of spiritual fruits on it. It smelled very fragrant. When the clam was put into his mouth, he was shocked. See God, why is there such a delicious thing in this world? Is it still clam meat? How can clam meat be so delicious? The young man was dumbfounded. His poor vocabulary couldn't express his feelings at this moment at all. Not only this young man, but all the people who got the samples were stunned. The taste was delicious and fragrant. The heat and touch of the sea clam completely covered the fishy smell of the sea clam. Everyone felt that the taste buds on their tongues were opened, and every muscle on the tip of the tongue was jumping. It's delicious. It's so delicious. I've never tasted anything so delicious. Sea God, isn't this a wonderful taste that only the sea god can have? I can't believe it has appeared in the mortal world. Many people were drooling after they finished the food. Looking at the new batch of barbecue on the grill, nobody was going to leave. Many people who were about to go out to sea the fish froze in their positions and didn't want to move away. Those who didn't get a sample at the back stood on their tiptoes and looked around. Not to mention that so many people said it was delicious, they couldn't stand the smell alone. Han Fei looked at them. Han Fei looked at them and said, Don't push. Spread out and don't block their way. It's no longer free from now on. But it's half price. Hurry up if you want to buy. I want a caddy of yellow fish. I want 5 caddies of white fish. Then I want a little octopus. I want a whole clam. Someone looked at the man next to him and said, Didn't you just say that you only eat free food? The man snorted. You must have a conscience. How can you eat without paying? I'm going to support this little boy's business. There was a swarm of heads as everyone gathered around. Li Gang was dumbfounded. Didn't they just say that they wouldn't buy it? Weren't they cursing just now? Why did they all change their faces? Li Gang felt that he was drooling too. It smelled really delicious. Even though the price was 100 times higher, people were still buying it. That was unbelievable. He had never thought that anyone would buy a clam with 20 low-quality pearls. That was the most extravagant thing he had ever seen. As Han Fei continued barbecuing, gradually, the whole street was filled with people who couldn't help but come here. Some people smelled an alluring fragrance as soon as they arrived at the entrance of the market. Some people were about to go to see when they smelled the fragrance and wanted to take a look. Zhang Han was leisurely eating sea melon seeds in the shop. When the fragrance drifted into his nose, he immediately dropped the sea melon seeds. It smelled too good. Could it be that someone was cooking something? Even Sister Qin, who was the coldest in the port, frowned. She couldn't help but swallow when she smelled an indescribable fragrance from the market. Chapter 43. Zhang Han pushed the crowd aside. He was too curious about what could emit such an alluring fragrance. When the crowd slightly dispersed, Zhang Han saw the words, "World's most delicious food," and Han Fei was standing in front of the barbecue stall brushing fish oil, his face extremely serious, and Li Gang, who was knocked down by Han Fei before, was helping him. Zhang Han opened his mouth, not quite sure what to do. "Why aren't you fishing? Why are you running a stall? Aren't you going to take the fishing trial in a few days? Are you giving up already?" Then, Zhang Han saw the shocking price list. 10 low-quality pearls for a white fish, and 20 low-quality pearls for a clam? Hiss! Zhang Han gasped. He thought that he was already a scammer. It was not unusual for him to cheat people of dozens of sea coins or 1 or 2 low-quality pearls. But it seemed that he was a businessman with a conscience. The price of the clam had been increased by hundreds of times, and people were still buying it. The key was that there were many people buying it, and some people were still fighting for it. "Kid, give me a big clam." "Boy, I'd like 10 prawns." "Little boss, I'd like 2 conches." Zhang Han was shocked. What a huge profit. Han Fei had seen Zhang Han a long time ago. He couldn't help but ask, "Manager Zhang, do you want anything? My stall just opened today. Everything is half price. You can't miss it." Zhang Han gasped again. 10 low-quality pearls for your white fish. Han Fei said, "Only 5 today?" "Zhang Han, what's wrong with 5? Do you think it's too little?" 5 low-quality pearls were 500 sea coins, which was enough for dozens of white fish. Han Fei was generous enough to give 3 prawns to Zhang Han. Zhang Han received it in a daze. Looking at the golden and dazzling prawn meat and the powdery substance on top of it, he took a bite and was immediately stupefied. How could there be such a delicious thing in this world? God knew what was on Zhang Han's mind. He asked, "Have you paid the management fee for your stall?" Not just Han Fei, many other people looked at Zhang Han in surprise. "You're still thinking about such things at a time like this? Don't you want to savor this delicacy?" Han Fei smiled and patted his price board. Zhang Han glanced at it. 1 low-quality pearl for 1 prawn. He almost jumped to his feet. "Did I just eat a low-quality pearl in 1 bite?" Zhang Han stepped forward. "Han Fei, why is it so expensive?" Li Gang had always been at odds with Zhang Han. At this moment, he said proudly, "What do you know? 3 kinds of spiritual fruits are used as auxiliary materials, and you still think it's expensive? What do you think?" Well, Zhang Han almost threw away the prawns in his hand. Spiritual fruits as spices? Was Han Fei crazy? However, when Zhang Han saw the red pepper, he immediately breathed a sigh of relief, but then he was speechless and said, "Don't tell me that the spiritual fruit you mentioned was obtained from the old man in the plantation?" Of course, Zhang Han knew about the plantation. Not only did he know about it, but he had also been there and bought a mid-quality pearl and a spiritual fruit. It was delicious, but it was completely useless. The spiritual energy he gained after eating it was not even as much as that of a yellow croaker. Han Fei said, "There are thousands of spiritual fruits. Some can help with breakthroughs, some are helpful for cultivation, and some are natural spices that can bring happiness." Zhang Han's face was gloomy. "Happiness my ass." Han Fei asked, "Manager Zhang, do you want anything else?" Without saying a word, Zhang Han snorted and left gloomily. Ever since Han Fei became the angel's disciple, Han Fei had changed. his words and actions were completely different from before. Was Han Fei also changed by the angel? If that was the case, Han Fei was really untouchable. In just one day, Han Fei was so busy that he had handled at least 800 tons of seafood. He had only used up less than half of the materials, and he had earned more than 5,000 low-quality pearls, which was equivalent to 50 mid-quality pearls. Li Gang was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. He joined the tigers to make a good life for Little Red, but he had never made so much money. That was 50 mid-quality pearls. Ordinary people might not have that much money even if they didn't eat or drink for decades. Suddenly Han Fei shouted, "Gang Zi, come and take over. I'm exhausted." Li Gang was surprised that Han Fei was asking him to do the work. Li Gang said, "How? How can I do that?" Han Fei said gloomily, "Do you want me to die of exhaustion? Come and take over." With that, Han Fei let go and sat aside to rest. Looking at the buckets of white fish, yellow croakers, prawns, and conches behind him, he felt that spiritual energy was surging at him. In just one day, he had absorbed almost 4,000 points of spiritual energy. Plus his own inventory, he had more than 5,000 points of spiritual energy. More importantly, he didn't suffer a loss. He only spent some money on 100 kilograms of fish head wine, which only cost 5 or 6 mid-quality pearls. Li Gang had learned it a long time ago. It was actually very simple to do. Splash the fish oil, splash the chili juice, and sprinkle some minced garlic. It couldn't have been easier. Han Fei took a rest and asked, "Gang Zi, where are your lackeys?" Li Gang didn't know how to answer. After all, his lackeys were already dead. Li Gang asked, "They must have become fish dung." Han Fei asked, "Do you have any other lackeys?" Li Gang replied, "No. There aren't many gangsters in the village. I can't control the other gangsters. They're all in the gang." Han Fei asked, "What is Little Red doing at home?" Li Gang's face slightly changed. "Young master, Little Red is my life." Little Red? Han Fei scoffed. "But, what are you thinking? I mean, can you ask Little Red to help the world's best barbecue stall? I'll give you 10% of the profits." Li Gang was stunned. "Young master? Really?" This was completely beyond Li Gang's expectation. After he was crippled by the tigers, he had planned to retire. If he wasn't careful enough, he might lose his life. But he didn't expect that Han Fei would help him. Not only did Han Fei cure his wounds, but he also asked for 10% of the profits from the barbecue stall. Li Gang asked again, "Young master, really? Han Fei said, "Why would I lie to you? I don't care about such a small amount of money right now." Li Gang was overjoyed. "You don't care about it, but I do." Even if he only got 10% of the profits, according to today's sales, he would get 5 mid-quality pearls, and that was only half the price. Wouldn't it double if there was no discount? That was much more than what he made in the tigers. Han Fei handed a fish or a skewer of shrimp to Li Gang from time to time. Every time, the fish would be cold and their spiritual energy would be drained, but Han Fei never got tired of it. At night, the stall was about to close. Wang Jie and He Mingtang came. Seeing that Han Fei was here, Wang Jie was furious. "Han Fei, what are you doing? Do you think you're a lowly fisherman? The fishing trial is around the corner. Why are you here instead of cultivating?" Li Gang said angrily, "Fishing Master Wang Jie, you can't say that. My young master is a man of great ability. A fishing trial is nothing to him." "Shut up," Wang Jie said gloomily. "Han Fei, speak for yourself." Han Fei said solemnly, "Master, we cultivators have a weak foundation. It's time to lay the foundation. Only with enough money can we support our cultivation." Wang Jie said, "Speak human language." Han Fei said, "I feel that I'm about to make a breakthrough. I need to make some money to buy some ancillary spiritual fluids." Wang Jie said, How much money can you make from your stall? I didn't believe it when I heard that my student was setting up a stall. I didn't expect that you would really be here." Han Fei said, "Master, it's very profitable. I've made 50 mid-quality pearls." Wang Jie said, "Shut up. Is 50 mid-quality pearls a big deal? Wait, how many mid-quality pearls did you say?" Han Fei said, 50. He Mingtang asked, Han Fei, are your mid-quality pearls yellowfish? Clatter. Li Gang tossed the box of low-quality pearls out and fiddled with them. I told you that my young master is awesome. This box is almost full. Wang Jie, He Mingtang. Wang Jie and He Mingtang finally noticed the price of Han Fei's barbecue. Hiss, both of them sucked in a cold breath. Wang Jie asked, It's so expensive. Is anybody buying it? Chapter 44. The voice came suddenly. They looked back and saw that it was Sister Qin, the registrar of the departure port. Sister Qin's real name was Jiang Qin. She had been working at the port for 3 years. She showed up at work on time every day and didn't leave until everyone went to bed. No one knew Jiang Qin's background, but no one paid attention to it. After all, it was just a civil servant in everyone's eyes. Of course, Han Fei didn't know any of this. He only knew that the girl left a good impression on him. Although she was a bit cold, she always took care of him when he went to sea. Hey, Sister Qin is here. Wait a moment. Gangzi, add more dishes. When Wang Jie saw Han Fei's earnings, he realized he couldn't teach him a lesson. He pulled Han Fei to the side. Why are you with Li Gang? This kind of hooligan is not worth associating with. Sir, Gang Zi has been kicked out of the Tigers and is now begging on the street. How can I ignore him? So I accepted him. Han Fei spoke righteously, but Wang Jie didn't think so. Why did he hear a different version? Li Gang was kicked out of the Tigers because of you, didn't you? In the end, Wang Jie said thoughtfully, although training requires resources, you can't rely on them too much. There are only 7 days left until the fishing trial. Take care. After Wang Jie and He Mingtang left, Li Gang was packing for Jiang Qin. Jiang Qin took a bite of the prawn and her eyes lit up. She swallowed the whole prawn in a few bites. She turned to look at Han Fei. Want to walk with me? Stunned for a moment, Han Fei said to Li Gang, Little Gang, pack up your stall. Take this bag of low-quality pearls with you. Prepare the materials for tomorrow and exchange them for mid-quality pearls. Li Gang, I'll handle it? Of course. How troublesome would it be to carry that bag of pearls? Li Gang was dumbfounded. What did he mean by trouble? It was all money. Do you think it's troublesome to carry money? Jiang Qin saw everything. When they walked out of the market, she said, There is no small fish tied in the sea, right? Han Fei certainly wouldn't admit it. Of course not. I was attacked by fish tides twice, and even my fishing boat was broken. However, Jiang Qin didn't respond. So you should pay for the fishing boat. Han Fei? Jiang Qin said, Forget it. Everyone has secrets. Just keep them to yourself. How did you manage to get those spirit fruits from the plantation? Han Fei said, Hey. I gave the old man some wine and he gave it to me. Jiang Qin nodded faintly. He didn't know whether she believed him or not, but he just assumed that she did. However, Jiang Qin changed the topic and glanced at Han Fei. I heard that you haven't made any progress in the past 4 years, but you've been cultivating very fast recently. You're about to break through to the peak of level 6. What level is your spiritual heritage? Han Fei was shocked. This girl was probably not an ordinary person. He felt as if he had been seen through. Level 2, low quality. Jiang Qin was stunned and frowned slightly. It's not a good thing for children to lie. It depends on who they are hiding from. Sister Qin, I'm really level 2, low quality. In fact, I was level 1, high quality when I was tested at school, but then I got lucky and became level 2. Han Fei didn't intend to hide this. After all, the result of the test in front of the whole school was level 1, high quality. But if the girl asked him to test it again, it would be hard to explain. Jiang Qin turned her head sharply. A growable spiritual heritage? Han Fei quickly said, I ate a spiritual fruit. My brother left it to me. He didn't know whether Jiang Qin believed him or not. After walking for about 10 minutes, Jiang Qin said, Prepare for the fishing trial. The higher your ranking, the better, if you want to continue to get spiritual fruits from the plantation. Han Fei nodded. But after saying this, Jiang Qin left on her own. Han Fei was puzzled. What did she mean by that? When Han Fei returned home, it was already late. He checked his spiritual energy value, which was already more than 7,000 points, but he didn't intend to make a breakthrough immediately. He wasn't in a hurry. Instead, he wanted to save more spiritual energy. Maybe he could upgrade his spiritual heritage in one go, which required 10,000 points of spiritual energy. Maybe he could have a level 3 spiritual heritage soon. The next day, at the world's most delicious barbecue stall, Han Fei finally saw Little Red, whom Li Gang had been thinking about all the time. Li Gang said, "Little Red, this is Young Master. Young Master is not an ordinary person." Han Fei was quite polite and nodded slightly, although this was obviously not in line with his 12-year-old age. But secretly, the corner of Han Fei's mouth twitched. "I thought Little Red was very beautiful, but Li Gang was always afraid that Little Red would run away. Damn it. Do you think everyone is like you, looking for a woman who is as fat as you?" Li Gang was at least 170 kilograms, but Little Red was not afraid of him at all. Han Fei even felt that Li Gang might not be able to beat her. It seemed that this guy was just arrogant outside, but he was also henpecked at home. Since the barbecue task was given to Li Gang and Little Red, Han Fei had nothing to do. He moved a small stool behind the barbecue stall and sat down to deliver seafood to Li Gang. Everything that passed through his hands died in Li Gang's hands. Today's turnover of the barbecue stall was less than half of yesterday's. After all, people could afford the half price yesterday, but it was suddenly restored to the original price today. Ordinary fishermen couldn't afford it. But fortunately, many people came because of the reputation. Li Gang explained to each person who came. When the sun was about to set, Han Fei's spiritual energy value had already exceeded 10,000 points, but he was as steady as an old dog. He would save it first. Li Gang said, "Young Master, we don't have enough spiritual fruits. They will probably be used up in half a day tomorrow." Han Fei nodded. "Okay, Little Gang, you can have one of each. I'll go get some spiritual fruits." Hearing that Han Fei was going to get spiritual fruits, a vendor immediately came up to him. "Boy, is it easy to get spiritual fruits? Can you get some for me too?" Han Fei said with a simple smile, "Uncle, 1 mid-quality pearl for 1. Although the business of the world's most delicious barbecue stall is good, I actually don't make much money. I dare not go to the plantation to stock without 100 mid-quality pearls." Wow, the vendor counted with his fingers when he heard that it was 100 mid-quality pearls. Forget it, he couldn't afford it. Who the fuck could afford that? 100 mid-quality pearls were equivalent to a high-quality pearl. Who in the entire Heavenly Water Village had a few high-quality pearls? Not a single person in the entire village was as rich as Han Fei. Sending the vendor away, Han Fei went to the plantation with 20 caddies of liquor and a bag of barbecue. Han Fei was also dumbfounded when he came to the plantation. He saw that the old man had a bunch of peanuts that had just been dug out of the ground and a bottle of liquor in front of him. Han Fei was speechless. The old man had learned such a classic way to eat peanuts by himself. The more he drank, the more delicious the peanuts tasted. Even Han Fei wanted to have a few bites. He had done this many times before. Every time he went to sea, he would bring a lot of peanuts with him. Boy, what's the smell? How can it emit such a fragrance? Han Fei walked over with a smile with the barbecue and liquor. "Grandpa, I told you that I wouldn't take anything from you for free. This is called barbecue. Why don't you try it?" The old man took a look. Ordinary little white fish, big clams. Then, the old man's expression changed. "You're using these spiritual fruits with such coarse food? But it smells very good. I wonder how it tastes?" After a mouthful of the clam, the old man's face suddenly changed. His expression was so colorful that Han Fei was amused. "Is this the white azure fruit?" The old man was full of disbelief. The white azure fruit was such a disgusting thing, but it had become a great delicacy? Han Fei pointed at the garlic and said, "It's crushed and roasted. Very good. How about it? Does it taste good?" The old man ate half of the clam in a row and then looked at Han Fei with scrutiny. "Boy, did you make this?" Han Fei said, "There is nothing useless in this world. People just don't know how to use it." The old man drank a mouthful of liquor and looked at Han Fei in a different way. The old man asked, "Boy, you said you want to help me take care of the garden?" Han Fei asked, "Can I?" The old man said, "Yes, but the wine this," Han Fei said, "Barbecue?" The old man said, "Yes, you have to provide for the wine and the barbecue." Han Fei grinned. "Okay, then I'll come to take care of the garden for you after the fishing trial. But I've used up the spiritual fruits I took from you the day before yesterday." The old man waved his hand indifferently. Yes. Well, no more than 100 kilograms each time. Hardly had Han Fei left when a woman appeared outside the house. "You agree just like that, Grandpa Foodie?" The old man said, "This boy is not bad." The woman chuckled. Chapter 45. Li Gang asked, "Young master, the fishing trial is tomorrow. Don't you need to train yourself?" Han Fei was playing with a white fish. He nodded and said, "That's right. It's time for me to train myself." Li Gang. Han Fei used to be a nobody, but he became a public figure after he turned on the hack. It was exactly because he became a public figure that those who were interested in him temporarily gave up. In the cave, Han Fei began to practice the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing again. Even though Han Fei's physique had been greatly improved, he was still sweating profusely after 36 postures. After finishing all 108 postures for the first time, he was like a steamed prawn. For Han Fei, there was no bottleneck for him to become a level 7 fisher. All he needed was enough spiritual energy. If I don't make a breakthrough, practicing the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing won't increase the upper limit of spiritual energy. Let's just make a breakthrough. Han Fei looked at his own data. Owner Han Fei level 6, intermediate fisher, spiritual energy greater than 48,201, 249, spiritual heritage level 2, low quality, upgradable, weapon purple bamboo rod, main arts void fishing, chapter 1, hook kiss, mortal level, divine quality. Han Fei couldn't have stopped smiling when he saw the data. If it weren't for the fact that the barbecue stall was so expensive that ordinary people couldn't afford it once, his spiritual energy would have been even greater. Han Fei sat cross-legged and took a deep breath. In an instant, a green light shone from Han Fei's body, and a large amount of spiritual energy seemed to appear out of thin air, circulating on the surface of his body. However, this time, the calabash didn't swallow it, perhaps because it didn't care about ordinary spiritual energy. Han Fei felt that his bones were shivering and his body was expanding. His muscles seemed to be full of strength, and abundant spiritual energy was flushing inside his body. Han Fei entered the ranks of level 7 fishers, but he did not stop. Other people had to absorb spiritual energy to nourish themselves when they reached level 7, but Han Fei was not short of spiritual energy at all. The stored spiritual energy was still surging out, flushing Han Fei's bones, flesh, and internal organs all the time. It was not until his meridians began to expand and the heat became unbearable that he finally stopped the cultivation. "Who?" He opened his eyes and stood up. Creaking sounds came from his body and his bones trembled. Han Fei felt that he was in an extremely good state at the moment. If he could kill Li Gang with a single blow when he was at the pinnacle of the 6th tier, he could do so with a casual blow now. Seeing that more than 12,000 points of spiritual energy had been consumed, Han Fei clicked his tongue. Did other people need so much spiritual energy to make a breakthrough? If it was necessary, other people probably had less than 200 points of spiritual energy. If they consumed 12,000 points of spiritual energy, wouldn't they be sucked dry? However, it never occurred to Han Fei that only by cultivating day and night at each level could his body accumulate from the beginning to the peak, while he broke through and directly reached the peak, ready to face the next barrier. How could it be the same? It was still late at night. Han Fei wondered if it was necessary to upgrade his spiritual pulse. After all, it only required 10,000 points of spiritual energy, but he gave up after thinking for a while. He was already high-profile enough. He had just boasted to Jiang Qin that his spiritual pulse had changed from level 1, high grade, to level 2, low grade. If he upgraded it from level 2, low grade, to level 3, would it cause trouble? However, he could finally see what the world of monster refinement was. Han Fei opened his palm, and with a thought, the calabash appeared in his palm. 5,000 points of spiritual energy are nothing to me now. Open. In a daze, Han Fei felt that the world was swirling and he couldn't see anything. When it was lit up again, he found himself in a circular space with a radius of 3 square meters. There was mud under his feet, which was a little wet. Around him, there was endless darkness, pure darkness, and he couldn't see anything. Han Fei was shocked. What the hell? Where was this? He carefully poked the black boundary with his finger, but there seemed to be a magical force blocking his way, like an invisible wall. A guess flashed in his mind. Was the world of monster refinement inside the calabash? Han Fei thought of the calabash in Journey to the West, which could suck Sun Wukong into it. Did his calabash have the same function? Wasn't it equivalent to the legendary space ring? No, I have to try it with Li Gang later and see if I can get him in. What if I turn him into nutrients? I'd better try the yellow croaker first. But this space is too small. Can't it be bigger? As soon as Han Fei thought of this, he saw a stream of spiritual energy pouring in, and then the surrounding darkness retreated a little. The area seemed to be 4 square meters. But spiritual energy can expand the land here. Forget it, I won't expand it. What if this thing consumes a lot of spiritual energy? But how can I get out? Han Fei tried to figure it out with his mind, and sure enough, he appeared in the same place in the next second. Han Fei looked at the data. His spiritual energy had become 30,008 points, which meant that he had just spent a total of 6,000 points of spiritual energy. In addition to 5,000 points to open Forge the Universe, the remaining 1,000 points should be used to expand the land. He tried to bring the item in, and sure enough, as he expected, with a thought, he really brought it in. After repeating this several times, he stuffed everything that could be stuffed into Forge the Universe. However, when he put the clam in, he found that there was some obscure resistance when he put the clam in. Is it because the clam is alive? But I did bring it in after all. Han Fei didn't know the limit of Forge the Universe, and he dared not really drag it in, which would only expose himself. However, since it could bring living things in, it suggested something. Just like this, Han Fei studied until the sky was slightly bright, and then he stopped. Today was the fishing trial. Tens of thousands of students would take part in it. Han Fei was full of confidence. He was at least a level 7 fisher. It wouldn't be a problem for him to advance to level 8 if he weren't afraid that other people might misunderstand him. At the school, everybody had arrived early. Some were talking and laughing, and some were very nervous, but Han Fei knew that they were all nervous. They were just joking to cover up their nervousness. He Xiaoyu grimaced at Han Fei the moment she saw him. Han Fei sensed that He Xiaoyu was different the moment he saw her. He asked in shock, "You've made a breakthrough?" He Xiaoyu asked in surprise, "You noticed it?" Han Fei said, "You look quite energetic. You must have made a breakthrough." He Xiaoyu said excitedly, "Ha! I made a breakthrough on the second day after my father locked me at home. I've been consolidating my cultivation. I'm going to make it to the top 100 in this trial." Han Fei said, "Then work hard." He Xiaoyu asked, "What about you?" "My father said that you're opening a barbecue stall. It's really delicious. Can you give me a discount later?" Seeing that He Xiaoyu was almost drooling, Han Fei knew that the girl must have been thinking about it. Han Fei said, "Of course. You can give me as cheap as you want." He Xiaoyu asked, "How about 10 sea coins for a clam?" Shocked, Han Fei looked at He Xiaoyu gloomily. "You can buy a clam on the street for 10 sea coins. It might not be enough." He Xiaoyu said, "You can give me any discount you want." Han Fei thought for a moment and gave up. After all, He Xiaoyu seemed to be his only friend here except for Tango. So, he waved his hand lazily and said, "Forget it. Don't ask for 10 sea coins. You can take it for free if you want. Just eat as much as you can. Don't waste it." "Really?" He Xiaoyu jumped in joy. Ever since her father brought the barbecue back for her head had been full of barbecue. She felt that it was the most wonderful taste in the world. Even the crimson sea fruit might not be as delicious as barbecue. Attention, everybody! At this moment, the principal roared at the operation room. Students, you should know what the fishing trial means. But don't feel pressured. Just try your best. Remember, life is the most important thing. Chapter 46. On this day, thousands of boats sailed from the sky island of the heavenly water village. Not just the students, but also the parents came to see them off. Someone had tears in his eyes. The fishing trial was a test of life and death. All the students would try their best to fight for the ranking, no matter how weak they were. But the more they tried, the more dangerous it would be. Even if all the teachers, supervisors, and law enforcers of the 4 major schools of the Heavenly Water Village were mobilized, there would still be casualties. The best record in history was 10% dead, 30% wounded, and 60% alive. It was the highest survival rate ever. On the surface of the sea, all the 12-year-old children of the Heavenly Water Village were gathered. The village leader floated his boat and shouted, "Same as before, the assessment will be based on points. You will be graded according to the level of your catch. The top 1,000 may be qualified for spiritual awakening. However, everyone must remember to act within your means and not try to show off." Everyone listened attentively, and no one became impatient. Outside of the assessment circle, countless parents were roaring, "Sons, it's more important to stay alive. Listen to the village leader and don't force yourself." Someone shouted, "Daughters, it doesn't matter if you can't pass the trial. There's still a chance for natural awakening." Someone shouted, "Children, give up if you can't defeat the enemy." Someone roared, "Be careful of other boats." Han Fei looked for Tangu everywhere, but there were too many fishing boats. Where could he find him? He Xiaoyu, on the other hand, was cheering for him not far away. The village leader said, "Attention, everybody. The fishing time is 12 hours. Whoever is rescued by the inspectors will automatically end the trial. The assessment will begin in half an hour." The sea breeze was not strong. The rising sun dyed the surface of the sea gold, and several black spots appeared on the blue sky. When they got closer, they saw several fishing boats coming at them. Someone exclaimed, "Hey! That's the exclusive boat of the Tigers. Lee, who hasn't shown up recently. It's said that he's trying to become a level 8 fisher. There's no telling if he succeeded or not." Someone pointed to the other side. "Look, it's the boat of the Wang family. Wang Baiyu is the only one from the Wang family who is participating in the trial this year. It's said that he's a promising armorist." Many people didn't know what an armorist was. They were all confused, but it sounded very powerful. "Look over there. It's Xia Wushuang, the strongest heavenly talent of the Western School and the only one with a low-quality level 4 spiritual heritage in the Heavenly Water Village this year. That's Xiang Nan from the North Campus. I heard that he became a level 8 fisher the day before yesterday." Han Fei was speechless. What does he mean? "We have to gather at the school and then come with the main force. Why did they allow these people to come so late at night? Did they really have to come here to show off?" However, just as this thought flashed through their minds, everyone's gazes turned to the east. Above the horizon, there seemed to be a figure walking through the air. It was as if the two of them had walked out of the sun and were illuminated by the rising sun. Needless to say, everyone was silent. This evildoer had arrived. It was none other than Tangu, who had been taken away by Fang Zhe for many days. No one would say that it was unfair. Was a grade 7 spiritual vein something that could be decided by fairness? In fact, everybody had already acknowledged Tangu as the champion of this fishing trial. Who else was qualified to win the first place except for him? Fang Zhe was still indifferent. He waved his hand, and a white luxurious fishing boat appeared on the sea, in sharp contrast to the thousands of fishing boats in front of him. Fang Zhe said, "Don't worry about the fishing trial. In any case, the first place is already yours. But after this spiritual awakening, you should say goodbye to this small place." Tangu looked around in the crowd and saw that Han Fei was waving his hand. He grinned and waved back. Fang Zhe narrowed his eyes. He had seen through Han Fei's strength at a glance. A level 7 fisher might be good in a small place, but it was nothing in the city. Most of the kids in the city were fishing masters at least. Han Fei didn't stand out before, so he didn't think that his spiritual heritage was very talented. However, since he was Tang Ji's brother, he might as well befriend him later. At this moment, the village leader came to Fang Zhe respectfully. Master Angel, when do you want to start? Fang Zhe said, didn't we set a time? Let's do it according to the time. Then, Fang Zhe glanced at the crowd and said casually, I can promise the top 3 of this trial a spirit concentration art. Everybody work hard. Wow, the sea was in an uproar. Although many people didn't know what spirit concentration art was, it was a reward promised by the angel. They had never heard of it before. It must be something beyond their imagination. Many people's eyes glowed when Fang Zhe said that. Wang Baiyu was excited. The Wang family focused on armorists and established itself as an armorist. If he could learn the spirit concentration art, he might be able to be an armorist and a spirit gatherer at the same time. By then, he would be one of the best in the town. Li Hu's eyes glowed, and his chest was full of excitement. The tigers were suppressed by the Wang family because they didn't have an expert in any of the 5 major professions. If he could get spirit concentration art, he might be able to become a spirit gatherer. By then, he wouldn't have to fear the Wang family at all. Han Fei didn't feel anything, but he remembered the armorist of the Wang family he saw in the market the other day. But no matter how powerful he was, his trump cards were much stronger than this. Besides, he could compete for the spirit concentration art. The village leader was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. It would be great if there could be a spirit gatherer in the village, who might lead the heavenly water village to greater heights. The village leader shouted with a ruddy face, "Attention, everyone! The assessment begins." As the village leader shouted, the 10,000 fishing boats immediately dispersed and went to their respective fishing spots. Some people couldn't wait any longer and began to cast their hooks without even moving their fishing boats. Because it was a trial, there were no 8 people sharing a fishing boat at this time. Each person had a fishing boat, and how many points one could get depended on one's ability. Han Fei was not in a hurry. He drove his fishing boat to Tanggu. So did Tanggu. Tanggu laughed. Han Fei, did you make a breakthrough again? Han Fei also grinned. Yes, I'm making rapid progress now. A fishing trial is not a problem at all. Tanggu nodded. That's good. That's good. What I left for you, Han Fei said solemnly, don't practice that mystic body technique. I can feel that there are major flaws in it. Tanggu was stunned. Han Fei said, it doesn't matter how I know it. Just don't practice it. Tanggu said, I didn't practice it. What about you? Han Fei said, don't worry, I didn't practice it either. Let's meet after the fishing trial. I have something to tell you. Tanggu said, okay. Then let's choose a place to start fishing. At this moment, Fang Zhe appeared. He glanced at Han Fei casually and said to Tanggu, don't go with him. If you go with him, he may not catch a single fish with your current strength and the noise you make when fishing. Tanggu looked at Han Fei awkwardly. Han Fei said, just go by yourself. Your goal is the Sea of Stars. Work hard. Fang Zhe was stunned. He thought that Han Fei would beg Tanggu to help him, but he didn't expect that Han Fei didn't ask for anything. The Sea of Stars was not a bad phrase. Tanggu said, but you, Han Fei smiled brightly. Don't worry. Don't let me catch up to you. My destination is the infinite ocean. It's as good as yours. Then, Han Fei steered the boat away quickly. Fang Zhe slightly shook his head. The kid was truly arrogant. The infinite ocean? Do you know what the infinite ocean is? Well, ignorance is bliss. However, considering the kid's wisdom, he might become a great fishing master in the future. Han Fei was not in a hurry to fish. He knew that there were too many resources in this ocean. He could catch fish anywhere. However, he didn't want to be too close to other people, mainly in case they saw his extraordinary fishing abilities. Han Fei drove 500 kilometers away. There were only a few fishing boats 1,000 meters away. Then he stopped and unhurriedly took out his fishing rod and put on the bait. Because he was fishing according to the level of the fish in the general fishery, Han Fei's target was not the fish below 5 points. For example, White fish were only worth 1 point, yellow fish were worth 3 points, green turtles were worth 5 points, blade fish were worth 7 points, tentacle lobsters were worth 8 points, and snakebelts were worth 9 points. A meat turtle was worth 20 points, a rarely seen spirit-absorbing jellyfish was worth 30 points, and some ironhead fish were worth 12 points. In addition to these ordinary fish, it was said that in this sea area, some spirit-swallowing fish and pearlfish with low attack power were driven into the level 1 fishery by the fishing masters, which were both worth 15 points. However, few people could catch such fish. It was only to increase the difficulty of the trial. Chapter 47. 5 meters below was the territory of the blade fish and the green turtles. It was possible to catch the snakebelts if it was deeper. However, the snakebelts preferred warm water and were not interested in the bait. So, they were not easy to catch. This time, Han Fei was not afraid of wasting spiritual energy. The spiritual energy was transmitted to the fishing line and the hook through the rod. Everything around the hook was under his control. Suddenly, Han Fei's expression changed. He jerked the rod and retracted it. It was a blade fish. At the same time, the purple bamboo rod appeared in his hand. The moment the blade fish was broken, a cold light flashed. Holding the rod in one hand, Han Fei waved the purple bamboo rod in his left hand casually. Clink! The shoddy fin knife stabbed into the cover of the cabin, and Han Fei smashed it down. The blade fish's head was dented, and he kicked it into the cabin. He had earned 7 points. After only 2 hours, Han Fei met the inspectors 4 times. Every time the inspectors came, Han Fei pretended to be diligent, but he was relaxed again after the inspectors left. In the 2 hours, Han Fei caught 13 blade fish and 8 green turtles, for a total of 131 points. When the 2 hours passed, a voice came from the sky. The village leader shouted, "The first place in this fishing trial has 241 points, and the 10th place has 142 points. Keep it up, everybody." Han Fei was stunned. "Village leader, are you kidding me? I'm already very fast. But I only have 131 points. Are those people all beasts? Why are their scores so high? Even the 10th place has a higher score than me?" At this moment, far away, Wang Baiyu bellowed, "Weapon armor, hook technique." A long hook emerged from a box next to Wang Baiyu and entered the water. Then, a blade fish jumped out of the water. As the blade fish flashed, Wang Baiyu did not even look at it. He simply roared, "Weapon shield." It was a shield made of turtle shells. It had appeared before Wang Baiyu at some point, and the shoddy fin knife was immediately blown away when it hit the shield. On the other side, Li Hu said gloomily, "Who has already got 242 points? Tango? I wonder how many points Wang Baiyu has. It should be close to 200, right?" Li Hu smiled coldly and shouted, "Huya kill." In the sea, a 3-meter-long, hideous fish with a hideous head broke out of the water and spat out a baby ironhead fish onto the boat. This was Li Hu's secret. Everyone knew that his father, Li Ju, had a tiger-head fish, but no one knew that he also had one. As for Tango, he had seen a lot of the world with Feng Zhe these days, even in the level 3 fishery. He had seen all kinds of attack methods of different fish species. What Feng Zhe taught him were the most practical fishing techniques and fishing techniques. At this moment, Tangu seemed to be performing a mysterious technique. As Tangu moved, a pillar of spiritual energy fell on the surface of the sea, and then fish popped up, and Tangu only needed to catch them casually. If Wang Baiyu, Li Hu, or other teachers were here, they would be shocked. Isn't this the spirit gathering art? It turned out that Tangu had learned the spirit concentration technique. With this technique, fishing in the ordinary fishery was like playing house. Apart from the heavenly talents, it was not so easy for the others. It was even bloody. A student from the southern campus had only scored 40 points. It was not a bad score, but he was too eager and put the hook 6 meters below the ground. Then, a huge saber, came at him so fast that the patrolman did not even have time to react before the student was beheaded. 6 students from the northern campus were not far away. They were smart enough to buy a lot of green bait and throw them into the sea, hoping to build a nest. However, 3 tentacle lobsters were attracted, and only 3 of the 6 students escaped. The other 3 were all dragged into the sea. In the eastern campus, a girl who had scolded Han Fei before was so unlucky that she caught a ballfish. Even the teachers didn't expect that the ballfish would be caught. As a result, 108 flying needles flew all over the sky and pierced through the girl. Such things happened in many places. The inspectors had no time to react. After all, they were not fishing together. As for the disability rate, it was even higher. Many students would choose the blade fish if they wanted to accumulate points, but could all the students really dodge that knife? At least half of them couldn't, because the saber was too fast. Even if they had weapons, 30% of them would still be disabled. Another 2 hours passed. Han Fei was more efficient than before. The green bait he caught earlier cost him 131 points. This time, he also hammered a tentacle lobster, caught 17 blade fish, and caught 6 green turtles. His total score was 289 points. Han Fei spat. He should be in the top 10 now, right? If he didn't have enough spiritual energy, he wouldn't have been able to catch so many fish. Fishermen below level 7 would have taken spirit refilling pills or started cultivating or eating to recover. The village leader's announcement came from the sky again. The first place in this fishing trial has 482 points, and the 10th place has 298 points. Keep it up, everyone. Han Fei was stunned. Are you kidding me? Are these people really students? They should have run out of spiritual energy a long time ago. It never occurred to Han Fei that the top few were all the best in the village. Who didn't have spirit refilling pills? Of course, spirit refilling pills alone weren't enough, but they all had their own tricks. He Xiaoyu was not panicked at all. She had 212 points. Her father gave her 3 spirit refilling pills before she came. She thought that it would be great if He Xiaoyu could make it to the top 100 with her talent. Little did He Mingtang know that Han Fei gave He Xiaoyu 3 spirit refilling pills to steal the knowledge of spiritual energy explosion. Han Fei said gloomily, "Fine, you forced me to do this. You're competing with me for the spirit concentration art, aren't you? You're competing with me for the place of the awakening spirit, aren't you? Come on, watch me." Han Fei made up his mind and activated the void fishing art. In an instant, Han Fei's hands were burning. Fortunately, he reacted quickly. He had already prepared a bucket by the side and immediately put his hand into it. If Feng Zhe had been watching this, his eyes would have popped out of his head. Was he not afraid that he would explode when he attracted spiritual energy into his body under the sun? In the next moment, the spiritual energy here was slightly rioting. Han Fei saw a shoal of fish and a few knives swimming at him. Han Fei immediately cast the hook. As he expected, a fish bit the hook, but it was not a blade fish but a green turtle. However, Han Fei didn't mind it at all. He immediately retracted his rod and knocked the green turtle out without caring about the flying stones at all. But when the spiritual energy here was rioting, Feng Zhe frowned. Why did I sense the essence of the sun just now? Was it an illusion? 2 patrol inspectors who were nearby also sensed the abnormality here and hurried over. Then the 2 inspectors were shocked. When they arrived, they saw Han Fei jumping up and smashing the head of a tentacle lobster with a stick. Then, 2 seconds after Han Fei cast the hook, a streak of cold light shot out of the water, but he blocked it with a casual wave of his rod. The 2 inspectors saw that there were as many as 30 knives on the roof, deck, and body of Han Fei's boat. Hiss! One of the inspectors boarded the boat and said after a glance, "Students from the eastern campus? They're all blade fish, a few green turtles, and 2 tentacle lobsters." The other inspector had come to count the score. Seeing that there were more knives on Han Fei's boat, he shook his head and said to the inspector, "Let's go. He's Han Fei, Tangji's brother." The other inspector understood. It was true that only geniuses could call each other brothers. They were truly strong. Ignoring the 2 teachers, Han Fei paused for a moment. It's not a good idea to have all the knives on the boat. Will I expose my strength? Forget it. I'd better put the knives away. Far away, Li, who was stunned and looked at the tiger-headed fish. Are there fish over there? The tiger-headed fish squeaked like a human. Lee Hu asked, "Someone's over there? So what? Let's rob him." You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.